Hello and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. Last time I went through the main story quest, but now we're going to go through the other major story development that was introduced in this patch 6.2 and go with the next part of the Pandemonium raid. Audience. An unwelcome visitor, and that is a highly menacing image to be greeted with, isn't it? Ah, Coda, I made a breakthrough. After uncountable days and nights, I finally hearkened to Crystal Whispers, and I must say... Sir Claudian, where are your manners? While I understand all too well your enthusiasm, I must remind you that even the most academically inclined prefer a composed recounting of events. Yes, of course, my apologies, Coda. Being consumed by my research for so long, I'm afraid I've quite forgotten how to engage in civilized conversation. Well, it's fine. As long as you start from the beginning and get us going in order, it'll all be fine. In that case, perhaps we should start from the beginning. With a crystal set adrift across the ethereal tides containing the memories of a party yet unknown, they cried out for deliverance from Pandemonium, where the ancients kept volatile creations under lock and key. You yourself witnessed the power devouring the facility from within, and the advent of a divine monstrosity wrought of both mythic beast and powerful mage. Yeah, the guy fused himself with a demonic beast to become a vampire, a souped-up vampire creature. Fortunately, your martial prowess and the combined magical talents of your companions Themis and Thonios were sufficient to restore order to the circle of Asphodelos, but the greater threat remains. In the depths of Pandemonium, a presence yet stirs, its intentions and identity shrouded in mystery. That is the issue at hand, is it not? Since you returned to us, we worked tirelessly to discern the nature of the crystal. In the process, I determined an anomalous etheric signature, which I believe arose from the memories stored within. Analysis of this pattern suggests a feeling of loss or yearning, specifically a yearning to be made whole. Indeed, the ambient readings have revealed a faint but identical signature. This can only mean that another such crystal exists within our time. So, my friend, I must depart to search for it forthwith. By tracing our matching etheric signal to a source, I believe it'll be a simple matter to find our crystal's twin. Professor, will this expedition be carried out by only us, or will Kota grace us with his protection? I'm afraid he has more pressing matters to attend to, my dear Rossino. Namely, to seek out the secrets which lie nestled within Pandemonium, where this all began. From all we've heard, it appears that time travel from the Crystal Tower is not fluid. That is to say, one can but travel to in predetermined intervals. It would be prudent to check in on occasion, in case there are any unanticipated changes. Is this gonna cause another bootstrap paradox of sorts, like what happened back with, I guess I shouldn't spoil it, but with one of the earlier storylines? It wasn't an Endwalker that I'm referring to, but... As for you, my loyal assistants, I would ask you to remain here and continue cataloging the ancient creations. Can't do you intend to search for the crystal on your own? Why yes, that would be the most efficient use of our resources, would it not? In fact, I've already commissioned a ship and pilot for that very purpose. I trust you take good care of the laboratory in my absence. I have the feeling this is a very bad idea. I apologize for the somewhat abrupt departure. Progress is in sight. When progress is in sight, Professor Claudian tends to become blind to all else. Indeed, and he has been worse than usual lately. While I cannot fault him for his excitement, I do wish he would spare a thought for those around him. For reasons unknown, the crystal seems loath to be overheard. Much as it spoke only to you last time, none but the professor have been able to capture its ethereal yearning, which served only to convince him that he can solve this puzzle on his own. I'm starting to wonder if this crystal is truly the ally it's acting like. Surely after some time alone, he'll remember how valuable we are. The search for this crystal seems simple enough matter. Let him have his adventure, and upon his return I'm certain he'll be back to his usual self. As for you, Kota, may be best to return to Pandemonium, as Professor Claudian suggested. Speaking of which, I did have a request of my own to make. Traveling to Pandemonium requires you to pass through Elpis, correct? So something I'd have you investigate in my stead. While those creations confined within Pandemonium are considered failures, I doubt that is their entire story. Barring exceptional cases, they must have been under observation in Elpis before being co-signed to their shackles. And if we know anything about the Ancients, it's that they would have kept thorough records of the results. Oh yeah, basically, what the Ancients did was they created all the creatures on Earth in prototype versions, put them through many different cycles, and then released them into the ecosystem to live like that. They, technically speaking, were not gods. Those are the ones we're fighting in the 24-player raids, but they certainly seem like it since they just will stuff into existence. Since the ancients certainly feel godlike with their ability to will things into existence, and basically create stuff entirely for the purposes of adding them to a planet's ecosystem in hopes of creating a more fulfilled planet. No way. And of course, they are highly bureaucratic as well, as we've discovered. Ah, brilliant. Delving these records may shed light on the creatures Kote has yet to encounter, if your theory proves correct, that is. While there are no guarantees, it certainly beats the current strategy of rushing forward blindly, with only its strength to carry the day. For your own sake as well as others, please unearth with what you can. What information you can. Got it. Do 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 do. I've been practicing my jobs a bit more again. I even managed to get a new outfit for my gunbreaker. Well, not full new outfit, but I did decide, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Hades gunblade. Looks pretty awesome, I think. I'm still not a very good one, so I'll need to practice more. I need to practice this game more in general, if we're completely blunt, but... Poitinorcos. I've been taking way too big of breaks from it. I need to just get it more try. I'm not sure if I'm going to be rating this tier, but if I am, either way, it would behoove me to improve my performance, if only because that can still expedite even the regular EX dungeon runs. Ah, I did not expect to meet you here, of all places. Nice. Oh, it seems that like its leash was just enough to stop here. Almost as if it was stopped by the gate. That is a really nice touch. Now granted, it could have just been by accident and ended up working that way. Let's find out, actually. Yeah, must have just been an accident. Not to do serious harm of this guy, but I suppose it would behoove me to deal some actual damage. There we are. You seek records of Pandemonium's creations. Master Themis was just finished pursuing the very same. You should not be surprised, we both arrived at the same conclusion. Luckily, I have saved you the trouble and gleaned what information I could. Ah, so you know each other. I was dreading having to once again scour the archives. Perhaps instead I'll rest for a spell. If there's nothing else, just take my leave. Okay. As should we, for I have undone the warding sigil blocking the entrance to Abyssos. I came here merely to chase an idle suspicion while awaiting your return. Fortunately, while Pandemonium's protective wards continue to be assailed by our unknown foe, there have been no fluctuations so great as to make me doubt Erichthonios' capacity to keep watch over Asphodelos while I'm away. He works diligently, intermittent, that he might deliver the creations back to the cages by his own hand. I thought it best to give him some time to hone his craft. And since fate has brought us both here, I'd ask you to accompany me while I attend another matter, or idle suspicions I wish to chase down. Rest assured it shall not take long. I simply have a few questions to ask of an acquaintance of mine. Come, he's agreed to meet us near the Naos to the Pandemonium. Current running theory is that Themis is actually Elidibus, because Basically, the villains, the Ascians, their names that we refer to them as are all technically their titles, the seat they held when the world before it was split. So, it's possible Themis is Elidibus, because Elidibus is his title. Uh, do- My, this is quite the flight. This place is quite impressive. It's a shame it's one of those areas they likely will be unable to revisit after the expansion, but not much can be done about that. The whole reason we go here is because the story established that the information, the thing ending the world, was something even the ancients could never figure out. And by extension, that means that the one behind it all can't be any established character, because the information had made it there. Ah, here. Alright, Themis, you said you're meeting up with a buddy. Who is this quote-unquote buddy of yours? As I have pondered through our expedition in Pandemonium, I could not help but be mystified at how strongly the warders we encountered felt for La Habrea, whether it be good or ill. Hesperos and Ercathanios were two sides of the same coin. The former looked to his mentor with absolute devotion, and the latter looks to his father with bald hatred. True. I would not expect a familiar such as yourself to understand this, but such extreme emotions towards such an individual are quite rare indeed. True, we have learned that emotions are really downplayed among the ancients. Naturally, I feel gratitude toward my mother and father, yet we are all equals in the larger picture of the star. This view is not unique to myself, it is more or less the accepted way of things. By contrast, the researcher of Pandemonium seem to view La Habrea with feelings approaching obsession. Whether driven by love or hate, they all seem drawn to him. There are many other aspects of the facility's particulars I find troubling besides. I decide the best course of action would be go straight to the source and pose my questions to a member of the Words of La Habrea. Words of La Habrea's speaker. My apologies to have kept you waiting, Master Themis. I understand you are conducting an investigation of Pandemonium and wish to know of its origins. Indeed, in particular, I wish to know exactly why Pandemonium was built directly under Elpis. As in this location? The facility is overseen by the Words of La Habrea, after all. Why keep it so close to Elpis, whose governing body has no say in its day-to-day operations? At first I thought it may simply be a matter of convenience. Those creations which were deemed failures by the researchers of Elpis could easily be ushered into their new homes. Imagine my surprise when a trip to the archives revealed many of the creations were sent from organizations beyond Elpis, including the Words of La Habrea themselves. Given this, albeit limited information, I can't help but feel the Academia Aniter would have been a far more fitting locale. What does Elpis have that cannot be found there? These are fitting questions, ones that we've asked ourselves many times in recent years. Alas, the nature of Pandemonium's construction does not lend itself to relocation. When it was built, circumstances were not as they are now. As you surmised, the majority of the creations kept within Pandemonium were indeed sent from Elpis. Yet as the years pass, interests change, failures in creations deemed too flawed to even submit to Elpis paradoxically drew the attention of the Pandemonium's researchers. That is quite the change. In fact, it almost runs counter to the facility's original purpose. Who is it that decides which creations will be the subject of research? Master La Habrea himself. Such authority is reserved for the chief keyword, and he's taken it upon himself to step into that role. So if Pandemonium's resources were being misused, it would be under La Habrea's authority, is that correct? That's quite a bold statement to be made, but it would explain. Do not know what you're suggesting, but the keywords also holds Wards also hold some sway within the facility. Not even Master La Habrea will be free from their scrutiny. Alright, so if La Habrea was attempting to do something under the nose of the others, he would in fact have some sort of authority to answer to. They are duty-bound to report any irregularities as soon as possible, although I admit as of late their communication has been somewhat sporadic, but we have recently received reports from one of the keywords stating all is well within Pandemonium's halls. That is obviously completely false. Really, and you're certain that a keyword sent it? Yes, of course. Our communications suffered a temporary obstruction, but I can assure you the words did their due diligence in confirming the identity of the sender. Thank you. This information will be helpful in my investigation. That'll be all for my prying. Yeah, Themis is making a smart move by pointing out that he's already been there to see exactly what's going on. Then I shall take my leave. While you are yet permitted to conduct your investigation, I must remind you the warder's work is delicate and it would be remiss to disturb them for longer than it's necessary. Yeah, it's best not to cause a panic or until we have actual more evidence and proof all as well. A blatant lie, as we can both attest. One of the remaining keywords is most certainly in league with the party behind this. Let's hurry. I know not why our adversary has sent the report, but 'tis plain that we must return to Pandemonium with haste. It seems you need stuff sliced up in there, and I'm familiar made specifically for the purposes of slicing and magic, but even during the main story, it's pointed out that this one seemed to be out of use for quite a while, which implies while Pandemonium is here and that people are communicating with it, it hasn't actually been interacted with for quite some time. I cannot guess as to why this false report has arisen now, but it certainly bodes ill, as does the knowledge that our mysterious mastermind has at least one more keyword as a puppet. Regardless, they have tipped their hand, we would be remiss to leave Erechthonios to the mercy of their machinations. Let's hope no harm has befallen him. I do wonder if perhaps La Habrea will be the final boss here and Erechthonios will take over the title. If so, that means our fights with La Habrea and Realm Reborn will be that much more depressing, knowing it was once a friend. Or will it be a situation where he gets his memory erased again? That would be disappointing. He's improving his cage magic. His imprisoning magic. Not quite. I've traced these sigils countless times, yet I still lack the strength to maintain the spell. And now time works against me. I can no longer be victim to my own ineptitude. What? Who goes there? There's something to be admired about such a single-minded effort, even if your methods leave much to be desired. You allow this familiar to catch you unawares. Have you set your sights so high you forget you walk upon the earth? I know this creature, a familiar of the Phoenix, but that monster is locked away now. That it is, in spite of the trouble I went to of freeing it, I might add. Begrudge me for addressing you in this ill-fitting form if you must. With control of Asphodelos wrested from my grasp, 'tis simply the best I can offer you. Hide if you will, but mark my words, I will find you and I will make you pay for the chaos you've sown. Now, there's no need for such hostility. A calm heart stays the course. The wisdom of La Habrea, your father. And that means whoever controls this is not La Habrea themselves. And how would you know what wisdom he speaks? I've heard those words many times, the scolding of a tutor whose students struggle to grasp the most rudimentary lessons, seething with disgust. Wait. No. I've not told that to anyone, not even keyword Hesperos. That can only mean one thing. But you still insist on mocking me. Stop this farce, La Habrea. Oh, so it is. At last you move to keep up. Pity you remain behind nonetheless. That is a very creepy eye. What? As ever you are, you always fail to learn, fail to understand, fail to act. Though fate deigned to offer an escape, you remain here. You are bereft of magical prowess and common sense, both. But you need not despair. Dull though it may be, you are yet indispensable to Pandemonium's great experiment. There's the affection I remember. Tell me, did I ever once measure up to your expectations? You shall. Take pride in that. Rejoice to see your wish fulfilled. What wish? Come, and all shall be revealed. All this rage, hatred, it is but a consequence of ignorance. Our desires align more than you know. What are you? Uninvited guests to join our reunion. It seems fortune no longer favors you. Okay, whatever that is, something tells me my scythe needs to slice through it right now. Yeah, exactly. My character knows what's up. Do you think I have any interest in listening to your problem and bowing to your will? I'm no longer a child. My faith lies with those who've earned it. So these are the heroes who brought Hesperos low, even as a power divine flowed through his veins. Oh, so he was divine class. Tis plain there are worthier subjects to contend with. Oh my. Themis, what do you think about the situation? Just what was that familiar after? Thank you. If you'd shown up even a moment later, I shuddered what to think would have become of me. What would have become of me? Given he was turned to a monster before, that was probably what Labre was attempting to do. A way to turn him into something else that can be useful to him, since clearly he has no care for anything else. There's something I must tell you. I know who's behind this. There's but one person who can throw all over a familiar creation and keyword alike. Erthonios seems to have quite the story to tell. Perhaps we should lend an ear. Sounds good to me. No spoiler tags now, just give me all the information I need. And so there can be but one conclusion. La Habrea was the driving force behind the chaos from the start. There is logic to that. There are few with the wherewithal to even consider experimentation on such a scale, let alone the capacity to create demigods from man and beast, with the rest of us none the wiser. Considering the magnitude of his work with the convocation and the words, his relatively minor role as the chief keyword comes under little scrutiny, even as it provides him the authority to wield such dangerous magics. It may serve as both a veil and mantle both. Still, I find the notion hard to accept. The misdeeds perpetrated here could not have been done by the Lea Brea I know. You've met him, yes? Do you think he's capable of this? We know he's lost his mind at the time of A Realm Reborn, where he finally gets his, Still, the thing that could cause him to lose his mind and become the tyrant he becomes in A Realm Reborn could be something that happens in the future. I still say it's too early to say anything for certain, which means it's too early to rule it out as well. It is truly a puzzle with many missing pieces. Still, I see you do not deny outright the possibility that La Habrea is a man with few scruples. That alone should be enough, but let me assure you, La Habrea holds nothing so dear as his own ambition. While he may not be one to let emotion stand in the way of his mission, I cannot believe there are no depths to which he would not stoop. Although we met but briefly, the impression left on me was in stark contrast of your evaluation. Though his methods are ever unorthodox, they seem guided with a firm understanding of what is just. Still, Themis, you did meet him in unofficial capacity as a member of the Convocation. Arachonios here knows him on a more personal level, so there's a lot more potential for something like that. There's one way to find out for certain. We delve deeper into Pandemonium and pull back the curtain on this mystery ourselves. A wise course. I would not deny the truth if I saw it with my own eyes, even if it was discomforting to behold. Sounds good to me, then. Then we must move forward with no excess of caution. La Habrea, or whomever is behind this, likely spread their tentacles into every corner of Pandemonium. We can safely assume the other key wards will not greet us with open arms. Agreed. Let us make our way through Abyssos, one careful step at a time. I shall stay by Arithonios' side, in case our enemies think to target him again. Can I trouble you to take the vanguard? Hey, you can count on me. Thank you. As a precaution, I shall safeguard you with a simple spell. This will ensure that even should we become separated, my phantom warriors will come to your aid. If it does come to battle, the keyword's magics will put us at a disadvantage once again. Luckily, we have you to even the scale somewhat. I trust you shall be somewhat, liberal with your weight. Abyssos, the fifth circle. Judging from the demeanor of that familiar, there is little doubt our enemy has a tight grip on Pandemonium and its denizens. We will be vulnerable. So what is Labre planning, and what role do I play in the schemes? Abyssos, the fifth circle. 5 minutes, a bit of a... that might be a bit. Since we have some time to kill, we could always do some, other things while we await. Oh yes, that's right. Old Charlian has a way to unlock the, Island Sanctuary. A farming minigame of sorts. With me having played so much Stardew Valley on this channel, it should be a surprise to absolutely no one. Yes, seeking Sanctuary. Clueless Crier. Sanctuary. Employed by Todd. Boutique inexplicably does not recognize you. Good morrow to you, my fine fellow. Come to see Tartar's boutique in the flesh, no doubt. I introduce you to one of our world-famous silk socks. They're comfortable. Even you won't realize you're wearing them. I'm afraid I'm here on official business. Was that your acquaintance of the proprietress? Heavens, you're the Kota. Mistress Tataru has told me all about you. Come to think of it, time it was to inform her immediately if you were to stop by. Please wait a moment, I shall go and fetch her immediately. It's pretty when it's snowing in Charlian. There you are, Kota. Oh, sorry to have kept you waiting. Business is booming and I can hardly keep up. Not that I'm complaining, it feels as if only yesterday I was welcoming you as my first customer, and yet look at us now. I'm sure you're wondering why I wish to speak with you. More or less, yes. I have a surprise for you, a gift in fact, a gorgeous exclusive and above all properly registered. Island Sanctuary. What? You heard right, I, Tataru, am presenting you with your very own private island. I know I'll be tempted with an "Are you certain?" You're far too kind, but I hope you can accept this gift. Renzuke. You rose to become the champion of Orza, and now I hear across the star, which gives you very few places you might be free of duty and expectation. And as I considered such an oasis, I guess I have no choice but to enter here, so we'll have to continue this after. But I now see what it's getting at. It's very difficult to be relaxing after you save the world, after all. And we still have a few more times, at the very least, we have to do it. Oh, what's this aura? Oh my, we're in a cage. Rage in a cage. Oh. And what are you, my friend? Mythic creation, Proto-Carbuncle. Oh, I see. It's based off the lizard-looking creature that carbuncles were in the earlier Final Fantasy games before they decided to go for the more cute animal. have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. Let's have some fun, shall we? I assume I want to be behind it. Yeah, see what I mean? I assume I want to be out of here. Oh, I can barely see. Oops, I missed that. Damn it. Frustratingly, I was even practicing just before the stream to make sure I wouldn't miss my rotation like I've been doing repeatedly today. Holy crap. I see the patterns on the ground, by the way, don't worry. Yeah, I figured that was a party-wide. Once again, I definitely want to be in and behind him for this. It's using its ultimate? Yeah, it must be its ultimate, whatever that is. Uh-oh. Of course, our buffs are all ending. Dang, a complete arena change. Kirby, no. Ah, I see. This is the only one that doesn't have a crystal in it. Crap. Guess I'll just, I have no idea what these are, but I have the feeling I don't want to be near them. Oh, I see, I don't want to be near the green ones. Do we need to have someone stand on these? I have the feeling someone needs to stand on these. Oh, that didn't end well. Alright, so that tells us where he goes. Interesting. I must say, I think even the normal mode fights are getting harder, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Ah, I see. So you have to go with them in order in which they spawn. Searing Ray. Really? Ruby Karis creates cells and light gathers around Ruby. I'll wait until this mechanic's done. Ah, so it only goes within where the cell which it's in. Yeah, that poison was in the worst possible spot. It was right where I was going to be revived, so I couldn't do anything to avoid it, and nor could the healer do anything to save me. That was just bad luck on everyone's part. No one's at fault there. Well, I guess it's mine for dying in the first place, but enough of that. I'll leave the limit break in case the healer needs it. Alright, so it's gonna explode in this order. And there we go. That's a lot of really big Venus flytraps. Alright, we can imprison it. We can't risk accidentally killing it simply because it, I might get the accessory. Unsung. We weren't too late. So this is the measure of a keyword's power. Excellent. Loot received. So this is where research is conducted on creations imbued with poisons and venoms. Erathonos and I were conveyed not far from here. Seems our foe is finding it more difficult to surprise us. Fortunately for you, since they appear particularly keen to see you dispatched as quickly as possible. I guess since they're under the even alone you are forced to be reckoned with. Part of me is glad you emerged victorious, that I might observe you further. He likely knows that I seem similar to Zem. With my story of familiar with the Zem, that would mean red mask holder. Were the circumstances different, I might thank you for keeping my son alive this long. I believe we can forego introductions, unless I have misread you. That doesn't look at all like the one we fought. Or does he? Well, I guess the jaws... Oh, you know what? The difference is he's not shaved here while he's clean shaven later. I'm afraid I'm all too familiar, Paragon. A charming appellation, but I'm afraid I hold no such position. No, I am La Habre of the Convocation of 14. Truly are who you claim to be, then answer this question. That can wait. So it sounds like this is different than... That must mean whoever Themis met was someone else entirely. Now this is curious. The trap I wove at your feet reacts to ether, but you remain unaffected. Oh, that's right, because we're from a sundered world, we're not nearly as ethereally dense as the ancients are. Such thin ether, and an unfamiliar composition besides. It is of no matter, I suppose. A more direct approach will beget the same results. I would advise you think carefully before deciding your next course of action. Strike me down here, and Erathona's wish shall remain unfulfilled. Never again shall he meet Athena. Mother, you would dare hide behind her name? Listen well, Erathonos. We are of the same mind concerning your mother. You have allies for protection, so what harm is there in hearing me out? Erathonos, wait. There's a question I must ask first. If you truly are La Habrea, why speak such blatant lies? Bitter in defeat, are we? Say my name. Alright, he said they'd met before. A simple request. Themis, was it? A trifle soon forgotten, as are you. Doesn't know his true... I have my answer. So Themis is an alias. The Habrea that I knew took pride in the convocation would never suffer its denigration. Right, he mentioned in the last raid tier that he only has to see magic once to figure out its details. You sully his station with this farce. Themis, what are you saying? Lahanabrea and hardly saw eye to eye, but I know his voice when I see it. Indeed, he makes a passing fine imitation in appearance and manner. However, the real Lahabrea would never call me by the name Themis. Right, he would call him by his official title, Elidibus, wouldn't he? What trouble have you gotten yourself into, Elidibus? I knew it! Imposter, you have no right to claim that form or that mask. Oh, what? Who? It was a mask that sickened me to wear. The Mask of Lahabrea, a man who values the position of all, who would murder his own wife in pursuit of duty. Yet you would assume my name and wield powers that are mine by right. Any worth you may have hinges on that which you so despise. Such trade provocations, I will not be goaded into finishing this ere my work is done. Erithonios, listen well. I am Hephaestos. More Greek names. And it is I whom you should call father. Yeah, since he's a member of the convocation. What, in the name of creation? Lahabrea is a title of convocation, not his true name. As such, he should be referring to the other members by their title, and that includes Themis as his title, Elidibus. We would do well not to stand idle while the enemy is about. I believe an explanation is in order, Elidibus. Let's return safety so that you may provide it. And that sounds more like the Lahabrea I know. Well, this is certainly... Well, I was correct that Elidibus was Themis. I was wrong. It seems I was wrong about Lahabrea being behind all this and around taking his title after all, in the end after all. Before we depart, however, I must offer you an apology. As Lahabrea said, I am Elidibus, one of the convocation and emissary of their will. For reasons which do not involve you, it is necessary for me to hide my identity while investigating this place. Still, that's hardly an excuse for my deception. Don't worry, I had a feeling I had a feeling. You were more... Your perceptiveness does not surprise me. When the time comes, it shall make my explanation that much easier to understand. Yeah, as far as I can tell, he's not actually supposed to be here, and that's why he's going in disguise. In any case, we have pressing matters to attend to. Let's do as Lahabrea suggests and return to the gates. We may speak there. Please, help him. Save him. Distant voice. It doesn't seem to be from a physical distance, more... It's in our head from a distance. I see Elidibus has chosen to keep odd company. Such a vexing composition of ether you possess. I still don't understand, asks the father. I guess that was a literal one in this case. As you're aware by now, I am known as Elidibus. After my dear friend Azem and I detected irregularities in Pandemonium, we decided the best course of action would be to hide my station as I conducted my investigation. I'm sure Lahabrea as well is eager to find out why I hid who I was, so I shall save that story for later. First, I would like to speak with you, my friend. Although neither Azem nor I met you in the flesh, you came with his highest recommendation. That alone was enough for me to accept you as an ally without question. Interesting. Yeah. Azem is our past life, our past self, before the Sundering. So it seems we were an extremely eccentric character even before everything happened. So, and I guess our past self has decided, well, whatever this strange person that seems like me is doing, they seem to be doing something productive. So let's stick with them a little longer. Somewhere in the world is a guiding star so similar to, that somewhere in the world a guiding star so similar to himself was out there, amused Zem to no end. There was not a shade of doubt in his heart that you would be a formidable ally. Furthermore, I've heard stories that Mistress Vana, who held the position of Azem previously, journeyed with a familiar such as yourself. That made the decision to trust you all that much easier. She too now dons the white robes of an advisor. If she's placed her absolute faith in you, I knew I would be in capable hands. Aware though I was of the path you have walked, I have no interest in exposing you. I merely wish to meet you and travel by your side a while. I may know but of a small portion of your whole story, but that's enough for me to believe you would never leave me astray. I wanted to tell you that. So functionally, we're not leaving behind any secrets. I admit my own grasp on what just occurred is somewhat tenuous. Doubtless La Habrea can elucidate matters for us. Expand on it, yeah. You can expand on matters further. Mr. Lidibus has chosen to keep odd company. I'm gonna crack open a soda here and get a drink real quick. Dang, almost an hour already. The story's really good, though. I mean, for this whole patch in general, I mean. It's been really good stuff. I'm genuinely curious how the story's going to go further from here. Since every expansion has 3 waves of raid tiers, this being the second, there's always a concern that the second one will feel like a filler arc, since while it can solve some mysteries from part 1, it has to ultimately bring out more questions and set things up for the final one, where everything finally gets resolved. That said, I do think they started doing a better job of it around Shadowbringers. So here's hoping. This expansion can continue as well. A keyword's jail. Yeah, the Gaul G-A-O-L. My understanding is if you're pronouncing correctly, it's still pronounced jail. He's resolutely avoiding his father's eye. I guess this makes sense. I don't know how long it's been since we last spoke, La Habrea, and truth be told, I'd hope we never would again. But I see now that I was a fool to think I'd ever escape her meddling. Just what is that thing that called himself La Habrea, and why is he the spitting image of your younger self? I find it hard to believe you've only just now found out such a being was wreaking havoc in Pandemonium. Do you think matters would simply sort themselves out? I suppose you deserve at least a cursory explanation. I'm well aware of the anomalies occurring within Pandemonium right now, including the fact that Azem and Elidibus have taken upon themselves to investigate. I saw no reason to insert myself into the investigation situation, for the time that was. Oh, he thought we had it. Imagine my surprise when instead of a formal report from you and yours, I received a communication from one of the keywords stating the research and operations were proceeding as usual. While Hephaestos' deception was almost childish in its simplicity, it became plain to me that your grasp on the situation was slipping. So you knew of his existence from the beginning. I can hardly imagine you'd suffer through yet another masquerade as one of another such. Can hardly imagine you would suffer another to masquerade as one of the convocation, not without good reason at least. As you well know, the name La Habrea is but a marker of my station. 'Tis not the name I was born with. Hephaestos has claimed that for himself, and I cannot fault him for that. He is my other half, in a manner of speaking. So his true name is Hephaestos. He knows all I know, my equal in every way, yet within his heart is naught but a greed, envy, and desire. All the emotions we are loath to acknowledge within ourselves. If what you say is true, what purpose would such a being serve? He is the product of an experimentation gone awry. I remember the days when I was young but reckless. I thought him sealed away for good, but it seems that time has a way of unearthing the shame we bury. When he spoke of my mother, he looked at you with venom in his eyes, blamed you for her death. Tell me, was he right to do so? I admit I'm quite curious about this myself. His words were about the ramblings of a tortured mind. The hatred and despair he endures has warped his view of the world irreparably. Oh, so she died of something, and he's the embodiment of La Habrea's blaming of himself for it. And now that he is awakened, he must be put to rest. If he succeeds in breaching Pandemonium's protective wards, he shall invite disaster onto our star. As chief keyword of Pandemonium, it is my duty to decide the proper course of action. As such, I declare all research shall immediately be summarily abandoned and the facility destroyed. Isn't that a little extreme? You would leave the other warders to their doom. 'Tis a choice befitting La Habrea. Do you disagree? Speak of duty, and ours is to guide the star and its inhabitants upon the correct course. It is no surprise that you would choose annihilation of Pandemonium if its existence posed even the remotest risk to our people. Yet, as you can see by Aethonios' response, the decision is somewhat more nuanced than that, as Zem and I grappled with this conundrum for some time, in fact. Well, that does sound like me, even if it's past me. That is precisely why I chose to involve myself directly. 'Tis the only way I could truly determine the best solution. And you needn't trouble yourself with that further. The chief key ward must prevent the worst from occurring no matter the cost. Your feelings, Elidibus, are of no consequence. Have you taken even a moment to consider another path? No. You spared nary a thought about yourself and your duty. You have no idea of the trials we've endured, the foes Code has stood against. Code is it? A being of such as ether as I have never seen. Just what are you? He is the guiding star that shall lead us safely through this. Thanks to his stout arm and steadfast courage, we have subdued the mythic creations and returned them to their cells. Speaking of which, I would hear your opinion, Kota. As outsiders, we are in a unique position to look upon circumstances with our vision unclouded by attachment. As much as I'd like to ask about Library being an emissary, I do think it's too soon to be give up on saving the others. Agreed, we still know next to nothing about Hephaestus, and I highly doubt La Habrea has been forthcoming with the truth. But we've managed to regain control of Asphodelos. He must be made to see there is merit in continuing this path. I have it. Speak in your official capacity as Elidibus the Emissary. Judge which approach is more sound, and even La Habrea would be compelled to listen. Okay, so that's what this would have jumped to if I had selected that. Reminding everyone of Themis' goal. As Elidibus, I am duty-bound to assess the matter from a position of impartiality. My opinion as Themis carries no weight. You understand what that means, yes? I do. Even so, you've walked with us the entire time, seen what we've seen. Based on that alone, I trust you'll find the best way forward. I can understand resorting to destroying Pandemonium if it was a last-ditch resort, but we have some options before that. Very well. In my capacity as emissary, I shall state my judgment. At present, there are merits in both destroying Pandemonium outright and in taking time to secure the researchers, and neither is yet an impossible task. Therefore, I judge the most measured choice would be to continue upon our present course. We delve into Abyssos, interring any mythic creations we encounter along the way. You have yet to witness Kota's might and Erathona's resolve. I would ask you to see our capabilities firsthand, and only then to decide if our endeavors futile. If such is the will of the emissary, I shall obey. However, if I indeed find your strength to be lacking, I trust there will be no objections to the immediate destruction of Pandemonium. You needn't worry about that. We will not fail. You are bolder than I remember. And you're even more tedious than I remember. Kota, come find me when you are finished. Erythonius is understandably frustrated, but if we are to conquer Abyssos, we must go forward with clear heads. Tell the engineer to his troubles that the weight might be lessened. You've done all you can with words, only actions can convince me now. Despite recent developments, our plans are unchanged. Pray call me Themis for the time being. She'll put us all in a correct mindset. In fact, I may be coming to prefer that name. Womp. Excuse me. Sounds like you need a shoulder to rest on. Ah, you do have my gratitude, ill-fit as I am to show it at the moment. With that, your words to sway him, La Habrea would have carried out his plan without a second thought. When at first we realized the creations had slipped their bonds, the other keywords did all in their power to restore order. Even though they could have chosen to escape, they rendered aid to their allies. I'm certain not a soul among them would wish to see this facility erased from the world, and they don't deserve to be abandoned simply for carrying out their duty. And besides, Hephaestus has secrets yet untold, secrets that would be buried if Pandemonium is reduced to rubble. I meant to uncover the truth behind his words, the truth of my mother. La Brea seems to only give information on a need-to-know basis, and he seems to see no pressing reason to reveal this information, yeah. While La Brea was quick to dismiss his claims, I failed to see what Hephaestus would gain by fabricating such a story. All I was told my mother's death was she perished in an accident. No one would say more, almost as if they were fearing to say more, in fact. Even if it was not La Brea that dealt the fatal blow, we've seen with our own eyes how quickly he can condemn others to die. I only wish to know, at last, what befell her. It isn't entirely possible that he decided on something that ended up requiring her death to save others. In fact, she might have even requested. If we take a step further, it's also possible that when she saw it was impossible, she said, "Forget about me. Just make sure you and those are fine." And this would also explain why his emotional half of La Habrea's emotional half would consider himself responsible, because ultimately, even if he didn't do it directly, he still gave the order, which would make it feel like he was directly ordering the death. What do you think, Coda? Does the La Habrea you know in regard for lives of others, would carry about his duty with another's blood on his hands? Fortunately, I have no idea what he might be like in this age. This age? Just how long has it been since you've last met? Regardless, I'd like to try and view him as he is now. Another opinion would be much appreciated. But it's plain there's much to consider. Thank you, Coda. It's easy for me to get carried away with motion as where he's concerned. We should focus on the task at hand, proving to La Habrea that we're capable of saving Pandemonium and its keepers. The most convincing way to do that would be to regain control of Abyssos. I imagine if I pick one of the others, he'd probably go, yeah, that sounds like my dad, alright. Although I'm loath to admit it, he would know more about these depths than any of us, and seeing as how we require every advantage we can afford, would you speak with him for us? He seems to have a special interest in your abilities, and may deign to help at your suggestion, if only to see what you can do. Researchers in different layers seldom contact one another unless work is involved, and I know next to nothing about the keyword of Abyssos. Any morsel of information La Habrea can offer would be a great boon. Ah, yeah, that's back to Elvis. Despite recent developments, our plans are unchanged. Pray call me Themis the Timmy. Alright. Alright. La Brea, I've got some questions to ask of you. Arathonius appears to have deep trust in you, and Elidibus tells me you share some relation to Azem. Your unusual ether does not mark you as a familiar. It's unlike anything I've ever seen, even among the countless concepts I've observed. To think I would encounter an existence I could not create by my own hand. Azem never ceases to surprise. The previous Azem was much the same. In taking the entirety of the star into consideration, she came to hold dear emotions and people that a more logical mind would have discarded. This made her act in her own self-interest more often than not, if we're completely honest. Just as you and Elidibus have conducted yourselves in this matter, the true danger of Azem's nature is its tendency to infect those he comes in contact with. Him itself said much the same. Trust that I shall do naught that would violate my duty. And yet you so frivolously invoked your authority as emissary to justify this little excursion. It matters little, however. Only your deeds will speak for you now. You wish to know more of Abyssos, I take it. Although I no longer have control over many of its functions, I can still sense what creations lie within. The chief keywords reach as far indeed. Well then, what do we have to look forward to? I sense no creations of note. Perhaps they've been made into fodder for experimentation, or perhaps they've been transferred to deeper circles. Yet Hephaestus would never allow you safe passage. He's left a trial for you to overcome. I speak of Hegemone, keyword of Abyssos. Though her presence is stained with the marks of corruption, it is unmistakable. I knew her as a woman gifted in magic and blessed with a highly logical mind. While I can sense those qualities are within her still, there is something else at work. If I were to hazard a guess, I'd say it's because she's already been twisted into a hemitheos, doubtless against her will. Coda, Themis, we must rescue her from this cruel fate, and if we cannot, we can at least seal her away until we can find means to undo the damage. Your allies make you bold, Erathonos. I very much look forward to seeing how far they carry you. But what's the son if not rebelling against the father here and there? Teenage angst and all that. Abyssos, the sixth circle, is now accessible. The duty finder has been updated with a new duty. Hegemone was a woman of reason and logic. She'd never be swayed by Hephaestus' wretched schemes. I hope she was not made to suffer too much. Let us not change a strategy that has served us so well. Bring her to heel, Kota, and Arthonos and I shall inter her when the time is right. Now we prove our strength. Only then can we free the other warders and unveil the truth behind Pandemonium's shadows. Not the fifth circle, the sixth one. Alright, we'll see if can we get through the cutscene before the thing pops. Let us find out, shall we? Wow, already. Wow, that's a lot faster than I thought. That's weird. Usually DPS queues are a lot slower than this. I consider we might find an oasis, and idea washed over me. Whoops. Yeah, I figured that would happen. Island paradise, not to be free of nature, almost even should be free of facts. So what do you say, yes? 1,000 times yes? What are we waiting for? Toss me in the hold and let's set sail. Good to know we're of the same mind. Really, there's no time like the present. We make for the Morbi docks. Like Ribalden, skipper near the Aetherite, he should be expecting us. That was way faster than I was expecting. That was barely even a minute in. There. And unfortunately, there is no... It's unfortunate there's no Fairy Reaper scythe, but and to answer the... Yeah, there's no Sage one either. The good news is it does at least apply to the Shadowbringer jobs, but it seems the Endwalker jobs will have to wait until next expansion to start getting the really big crafted ones. Full party. Asphodelos, Abyssos, the sixth circle. Spawn the other players into existence. For all I know, they They are just AIs designed to be like me. To explain why they suck. Because I suck, is the joke. Hemithos, Hegemone. Funny they made her giant, but I think that's largely so you can see her tails. Alright, so in chess, I had to look away when there's a number above my head, so I'll have to keep that in mind. The game is actually somewhat generous with me, oh my. With the physical positionals. Basically, the pizza slice is what I need to be in for the back and sides. Some more post, which will take control of your body once it expires. Look away, look away, look away. Ah, I see. So it takes control and attacks. Okay, that's good to know. Darn it. I did not realize that would be the case here. That could have gone worse. on, really? They're just switching. I believe this one should be safe. Messed up the... Just go super mode and just like... As long as I'm in this mode, my burst is pretty fine. Here we are. Sucks to not be attacking there, but I didn't want to risk getting hit by the mechanic. Oh crap. Damn, I almost went without dying. Or did I die earlier and I forgot? Nonetheless, I can't believe how close I was to... Still need practice, it seems. There we are. Tear the enemy apart, no questions asked. Ah, damn it, missing out on my finisher is huge. How frustrating. But we won. Not my best performance at all, but... Ah, here come the boys. Alright, we can seal her away until we can fix whatever it is that's been done to her. Well, only one, maybe 2 deaths. Not bad for a first try, but I can definitely do better. Oh. Alright then. As we expected, Arathonios appears quite pleased with our victory. I could sense here the hegemony has been contained. The effect of Abyssos tinkering is even more dire than I imagined. We've won. The key ward is sealed away, and alive this time. La Brea can't deny us now. He seems eager to dispel La Brea's doubts. Our plan is a success, though I hardly need to tell you that. Hegemony has been sealed away, and now I have no choice but to admit the merit in our methods. You have the right of it. I'm not so petty as to deny the achievements of those I've squabbled with, no matter how strongly we disagree. He's got the smug smile. Moreover, this being, either as thin as retreating mist, unable to wield creation magics, and yet powerful enough to subdue a Hemithios, has made this ordeal far more interesting. Then we have leave to continue. As for that, there's one among you whose very presence put the others at risk. It would be best to proceed without him, for failure would have consequences that reach far beyond Pandemonium. And of whom do you speak? A warder who cannot even conduct his duty without aid. In his place, I hope alone is not enough to overcome what awaits. In this place, hope alone is not enough to overcome what awaits you. A single misstep will send all to their doom. I get he's just trying to protect his son, but really, he could have put that better. So I guess there's really no good way to be putting that, something like that. So long as we each do our part and look to our allies by our side, even a neophyte can uprise his companions. That's something that Kota and Themis have taught me. While I do not wish to express any bias, I am inclined to agree. If my investigations made anything clear, it's that we are together greater than the sum of our parts. And hope has brought us this far. It drives us to seek the right path and act before the path lies closed to us. Then tell me, what is it that you hope for, exactly? See Hephaestus in chains. That's the surest way to prevent further sacrifices. I'm aware destroying Pandemonium would rid us of him, but the cost is far too great. And I admit I wish to know how he means to resurrect Athena. If it's even possible. And there we have it. That's precisely what I was waiting for. Must leave this place at once and not think to set foot in Pandemonium again. There's more to Athena's death than... We already know there's more to Athena's death than... We're capable, that much is plain. Hephaestus cannot be suffered to live. And I shall not allow his talk of resurrection poison mine or anyone else's mind. Life flows in a cycle. This is known. I think it's not just that all souls return to the underworld. Athena is no exception. She's likely found a new vessel, a new journey to embark upon. You cannot be ignorant to the folly of Hephaestus' words. Even were he to breathe life into a body, the soul contained within would not be your mother's. What if our knowledge is imperfect? What if he's discovered something no one else has? He knows all that you do, and he understands a bit of reality of the world, and he wouldn't pursue the impossible, would he? Think. Think, Arthonos, think! I already explained that he is merely a twisted reflection. Is it worth bringing back your mother if it means others are used and discarded like tools? Yeah, I think he knows a lot more, not just about her death, but also about what Hephaestus is planning exactly. Yeah, and he's just not telling us. Largely because he considers it a need-to-know basis, and this is not a need-to-know basis as far as he's concerned. Is it worth it to see her once more? Now, is your measure of worth your colleagues' lives? What was that foolish brag, saving them? Merely a performance to hide your childish devotion to your mother? Please, such barbs will get us nowhere. We should first discuss... And you would call me the fool? You who murdered your wife in service to your ambition for the sake of the star, no doubt. Uh-oh. I can hear it again, the voice. Inside my head. I know who to follow, Hephaestus' father. Mother, oh, I love you so, in this voice will guide me to you. No, listen not, Erthos. Apologies, you taught me that a calm heart stays the course, but I can never even grasp the rudder. Whoever this distant voice is it himself asking him to stop? Or those two fragments of... No, those couldn't have been La Habrea's fragments, because we saw all the constellations for all the convocation members. La Habrea's was among them. So why is the one we have completely blank? This was Hephaestus' work, there can be no doubt. Seems he learned from his previous failure. Alright, La Brea, we have a lot to speak about right now. Yeah, we're gonna have to speak sometime soon, whether you want to or not. Hephaestus' cunning, despite his warped mind, whatever took a hold of Erathonos, it made short work of his reason. From the moment he laid eyes upon me, I could sense his hatred and rage simmering below the surface. 'Twas a matter of time before it spilled forth. That was when he fell into the spell's embrace. Magic woven with such skill that Erathonos himself failed to notice until it was too late. That explains what the familiar was doing to him. This is the measure of Hephaestus' power. The other key wards had little chance to resist it. We saw his work during our encounter with Hesperos. Doubtless, Hephaestus' magic fed his ambition and envy until there was room for naught else in his heart. And there was something else besides. Did you not feel the presence of another? That's right. Someone was asking him not to give in to it. It's possible one of the crystals Athena's, perhaps. As I thought, someone's trying to warn him, but who? Could have been one of the key wards. Alas, their warning arrived too late. I had already provoked it when I was past the point of no return. I bear the burden of this failure, and my stubbornness. I could but scorn the boy, and Hephaestus knew that. Now I dread to think of the ordeal that awaits him due to my rashness. There is yet time to save him. We can easily regain control of Abyssos, giving us a firm foothold from which to brave Pandemonium's lowest level. The enemy is within reach. Just as with Hesperos, Erathonos is in danger of being consumed by the spell. However, I have faith he will not easily lose sight of himself. The way forward is clear. La Habrea, pray tell us all of what you know of what we shall find beyond Abyssos. I can only assume one more key ward lies in wait. The deepest level of Pandemonium is called Tartaros, and your passage shall be challenged not only by a key ward. Hephaestus has laid traps in every corner of its halls. You have no hope of surviving past the threshold. And that, I expect, is where Koto will shine. His dissolute ether will allow him to slip past unimpeded. We saw when Hephaestus had no effect, and doubtless even he has yet to devise a countermeasure. Right, but we need to act quickly, otherwise he'll simply lower the amount of ether required to activate it. And time is of the essence. He's already well aware that you can match a keyword in battle, and he will not stand idle while you stroll past his other defenses at your leisure. Agreed. However, clarity will be indispensable in our success. I'm afraid I must insist upon it ere we depart. I have yet to discern to what end Hephaestus would use Erathonos. If you would know, I would ask you enlighten us. And there's the matter of Athena. Why do you so fiercely rebuke his feelings for his mother? Well, I understand the very thought of resurrecting the dead is an anathema. You act as if grief over her passing should be equally so. How are we to grapple with what plagues our friend and drives our foe if you refuse to acknowledge it? I do acknowledge it. I wish only to spare those who feel it. Greater pain, still greater pain. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he specifically is trying to protect us with his silence. But we do have to point out, you do realize that this is precisely what drove your son over the edge, right? I don't mean to be so harsh, but keeping secrets is what got us in this situation from the first place. How dare you? No, no, you're right. The blame for his fate rests squarely on my shoulders. Very well, I shall lay bare the truth, but only after the foe before us has been laid low. You'd better. Like I said, all these secret keeping is what caused us to get in this situation to begin with. The remaining keyword is Agdistis. She served in Pandemonium since its inception. Her affinity for magic is peerless even among the keywords. Abyssos knows that losing her would mean the end of his experiments. He has hidden her in a space unreachable by conventional means. But your presence makes mockery of such barriers. The scarcity of your ether means it will be trivial to send you directly to her. We shall approach as closely as caution will allow. We know where battle will commence, so I do not anticipate difficulty in detecting your presence. From afar, I shall do my best to provide you with ground with which to fight and phantom allies to aid you. As for the instrument, I have yet to think of a foolproof method. Interment shall not be necessary. From here I can sense her essence. It is but it is scarcely recognizable. He was much more ambitious with her than he was with Hegemone. She has been transfigured such that barely a scantling of herself remains. We can but take comfort that the mercy of Underworld will be to her. I see, so her transformation was much more thorough, which by extension means it's going to be that much more difficult to bring back. Makes sense, even those with corrupted ether to the point of shapeshifting was too much for us to restore, even after having the cure for tempering. I sense that Hephaestus will has come close to perfecting his image of a hemethos, which means his research is in its final stage. I shall establish control of Abyssos while keeping an eye on your battle. When the dust is settled, Hephaestus will have nowhere else left to flee. The seventh circle. "7 minutes, oh my." Guess the Limsa's lower decks should be a good one. Oh, at the Moraby Dry Docks. Well, it's a trivial matter to teleport there from here. Called in. Rest assured if it pops, I'll be sure to go to it. Kotar ye. The little mistress told me to expect ye. She said she'd be along shortly herself, but speak of the devil. She's ready to go to the beach, apparently. Coda, I thought I'd dress in light for our voyage, given the notorious humidity of the Southern Isles. I trust everything is ordered, Baldin. Aye, just give me your order when you're ready to set sail. You have nothing to fear where you're going, not since any marauder with an ounce of sense has hung up their axe. The old island sanctuary business came out from the Admiral, reckoned we needed something to do now that piracy's off the table. As a matter of fact, just look at me, a bloody stand-up citizen, ferrying folks around. Any road you're packed a rather light for a venture of this sort. You do realize you're responsible for bringing your own tools and supplies, right? Not to worry, we'll procure everything there. Yeah, well, now, how in the hell do you plan to do that? Oh, I have a little something in mind. Let's just say the idea was good enough to land us a permit. That's so, well, best of luck to ye both. I'm sure you're just itching to see your new domain, so I'll fill you in on the juicy details once we arrive. Make your preparations. We'll leave port the moment ye give the word. I'll be waiting for you on the ferry. Island Sanctuary, now accessible. Island Sanctuary. I wonder. Ever since the game decided to go for neighborhoods and shared housing locations instead of instance housing, many Many have requested proper instance housing. I wonder if this is intended for that. I know when I played the Warcraft thing, the Warlords of Draenor storyline did have a sort of home base, but my understanding is that it caused problems because you had an auction house, the equivalent of this game's market board, for the NPCs, vendors for repairs and all that, to stuff for your outfits and everything. Basically everything was there, so so the cities that are supposed to be full of players end up completely blank. To my understanding, this game doesn't make that mistake, and does at least have... Here we are. Abyssos, the seventh circle, the world unsundered. So it should be mostly just a private place for the Stardew Valley-esque farming mission. And I'm calling it that instead of Harvest Moon because I think Stardew Valley makes a better, oh my! Holy, wow. That is a lot different from what I was expecting. Abyssos. Come to me, NPCs who are definitely not players. Or perhaps... I do like the games making an effort to explain the players joining us for past couple expansions. Oh, those eggs really leave me unsettled. They remind me too much of that thing from Berserk. What was that amulet called? Oh my, is everyone here new? Oh yeah. I guess others were all, what the hell is that? Just like I was. Oh dear, when the whole thing covers... The good news is this means I don't have to worry about positionals. They should... Solid circle. War of Artists. My vessel will be gifted into subjects. What became the Zorkmill keyboard? How dreadful. You'll not leave, then you shall become mine. I am... Yes, and this is my vessel. Have I been gifted with new test subjects? Yeah, I'm assuming I need to be in for this, so let's do for testing. Yep. That was close. Way too close. That was a little dangerous, but it got me out of danger, right? Oh dear. Okay, I was way too close there. Oh my, those are the only ones left. Perhaps you require more room for heroics. Allow me to soften your landing. Which means to send you plummeting the abyss. Allow me to soften. Tanks are there, I see. anticipate there, be wary of what they may spawn. An ad? It's an ad, I need to kill it. Oh, it's not an ad. Oh dear. We might actually have to retry this one. Sorry about that. Think of it, that one egg with the teeth reminds me of that angel creature Charlotte Corday has in FGO. It's like, leave me and my researcher be gone. I shall give you ground to fight, but you must move deftly. I must say, the music of Pandemonium has been a lot, different from what I was expecting. Not in a bad way, just it feels quite a bit different from, oh dear, that poor Gunbreaker. Asphodelos Bayonet. That means they beat the, oh dang, does look pretty good. That means they beat Asphodelos Savage. Big sad. What does the fellow Reaper have? It's alright, I kind of prefer my outfit. Now, it looks like these aren't actual ads she summons. They just showing those destruction. I shall do my best to keep up with her rage. Platform crumbles. This is an interesting fight, relying a lot on changing the arena more than anything else. I completely misread that. Meteors, lovely. I know what I need to do here then. I see, I need to wait for their AoE to go off and then go into the meteor. Okay, I see what it wants me to do now. I blame the boss for that, not the person trying to be helpful with Limit Break 3. Forbidden fruit. Is she supposed to be a Proto-Eden, a Yggdrasil, or Proto-Yggdrasil? Alright, so the birds do a line attack, the bulls do an AoE around themselves. Well, it seems like going by the amount of people saying that everyone was new. Oh, this is why I hate nature. Yeah, going by the fact, I think pretty much everyone in our party is new, so... Part of me does miss Red Mage simply because, as you can see by the one here, they can revive the healer if something goes wrong, as well as heal themselves if the healers are preoccupied with something else. Low damage but high utility, always quite nice, always an interesting trade-off. Forbidden. I'm not sure if it'd be better to restart or what at this point, but Ari's willing to keep going, so am I. Yeah, bulls, so AoE around themselves. Immortal's Obol. That's a really cool sounding attack, I'm not gonna lie. New platforms appear. Bow of Abyssos. I'll wait until she uses this move and then I'll revive. Because otherwise I'm gonna revive and immediately be squashed like a bug. Astro, believe in miracles. Ah, well. First week, it's expected this is gonna happen. Big sad. I can tell this one's gonna be the really frustrating one in Savage. guess my main point of contention is to figure out those meteors, because the meteors require someone to... Party says that the attack goes off right before, like I may have surmised, so I guess we'll have to give it a try. Until his finishes, because Reaper buffs don't stack, unfortunately. It would be nice if they did, but they don't. Abyssos is holy. That's the thing about melee, you can attack while moving. Ow. Spawn. Alright, remember, birds are line AoE. Yeah, beasts are tanks. Okay, yeah, beasts. Oh, damn it. Oh, did a lot better that time. Oh, yeah, line AoE. Oh crap, I missed that completely. The rest of the party's got it down, at least it's just me who doesn't, apparently. That makes sense. I am pretty much the worst Reaper ever. Okay, good, I got a heal over time on again. Yeah, I'm not getting killed by that again. I'm sorry. Crystal Keeper. That's actually a title from the 1.0 version. It is literally not possible to get anymore. Forbidden fruit, eh? Where do we go here? Okay, we got it. Oops, this is not good. Oh, I made it out in time. Phew, lucky me. Damn it. I can't seem to figure out how to dodge the wind. Go with where it was. I made it. I actually survived this time. Dang. Oops. I was in the worst possible spot. Just when I think I finally have things down, when the game reminds me, no. No, you. Alright, we got a Savage here. This is gonna be a party. This is gonna be a real rough one for parties, that's for sure. And there we are. About as smooth as a river of cinder blocks, but I'll take the win. Unfortunately, she was too far corrupted to save. At least the good news is this means his plans, the fake La Habrea's plans, can never come to fruition. Or at the very least, it'll be a very significant drawback. Things at full set of accessories is going to be good. Of course, the left side of my gear is more important than the right side. That is, the actual top, pants, boots, and all that. It gives bigger bonus than accessories, but the accessories you can't really neglect either. They do add up. The moment Abyssos was slain, the flow of ether and Pandemonium focused keenly on this location, creating a funnel of sorts which we could convey ourselves. It was almost as if we were ushered here. The space was created with care, and concealed with powerful wards. Only a key ward would have been able to detect it, and even with great difficulty. Ergo... Only I could restore Tartaros to order. I'm afraid this is the most I can manage with such power that remains to me. It's been too long, Master La Habrea. Likewise, Keyword Agdistis, I should not be surprised you're able to break free of Hephaestos' spells, even diminished as you were. It was not an easy task, even with your aid. His curses dig into one's heart, creating a storm of emotions that is all too easy to become lost in. Only by chance did a fragment of myself remain, illuminating a path through the madness. And thus I am able to appear before you now, even while my body was powerless to resist Hephaestos' commands. Some small part of my logical mind stood alone in defiance. It didn't even manage to speak to the outside world. That report, that was you. Doubtless you recognize my voice in the many times I've called out to you. The hope that those pleas would not fall on deaf ears was all that kept me from succumbing to hopelessness. That's right. So she was... But I have a greater purpose here than simply saying my farewells. There is something you must know, and the tragedies of the past do not repeat in the present. Of the past? Forgive me for what I'm about to do, Master La Habrea, but the story must be told. 'Tis the only way to understand Hephaestos' fixation on Heraconios. No longer can you hide your heart away. Like I said, holding all these lies and then holding back is what caused the situation to begin with. And diminished of her power, she's able to recreate these scenes. Ancients were truly a powerful race. Hephaestos? No, that mask marks him as La Habrea. Master La Habrea had brought an end to Lady Athena's life and sealed away a part of his memories and emotions within Hephaestos. These are my recollections of the moments following. Oh, so she was there when it happened. And you truly have no intention of revealing the truth to your son. My lesser half is now buried where none can find it. We would be wise to do the same with our memory of this day. Blood should not sway the spirit so, but Athena's teachings have warped the boy. I fear he would see our star burn to keep his mother safe. Arathonos believes that he feels love, but he's shackled by dependence. He could not bear the truth. His dependence makes it all the more important to be open with him. He'll seek answers for his mother's loss, which will inevitably lead him to you. Are you willing to accept the blame for Athena's death? Are you willing to accept your son's hatred? If that is what comes to pass, so be it. Better to be burdened with hatred than the knowledge that Athena thought not his body and soul mere tools to be used and discarded. Even were I to tell him what his mother plotted, he would ever seek reasons to believe the true fault lies with me, or with him. Should he merely hate me, he will remain unfettered by doubt, free to serve the star from his parent's shadow. Well, this certainly took a turn. I wasn't expecting Athena to actually have been the villain. In that case, it could be her that we must face in the end, or at least whatever she left behind. Arathonos loved his mother more than life itself, and yet, what a dreadful truth you've borne all this time. Such is La Habrea's nature. Every action, every word a solution to life's great dilemmas, and none to spare for his own. What I've revealed to you is but a small portion of a larger picture. I shall leave it to La Habrea to paint the rest for you. And for Arathonos, I hope. Thank you, Agystos. I always admired you, you know. What choice did I have when you sacrificed so much to guide our star to the heavens? Hephaestus has doubtless sensed that his final key ward has fallen. We should return to the surface before he moves to strike us here. If we are able to face him, we must be prepared to bring our full strength to bear. It was his hatred of his father that caused him to fall victim to Hephaestus' magic, yet the roots of that hatred born from a son's love. A love nurtured not by a mother's caring for her offspring, but a researcher creating an ideal test subject. Pandemonium abounds with demons indeed. And he's not referring to the actual monsters within, I'd wager. Agnestus was ever a bold woman, even in her final moments, that she would unearth the secrets of my past for all to look upon. Still full glad am I that she faced you as her last opponent. I could think of none more worthy to send her soul to the side. Could speak further of Athena's fate. So we'll finally learn the truth, I take it. The vision you saw told the story far more eloquently than I ever could. Athena was consumed by her research and willing to sacrifice her own child if it would hasten her progress. She did not offer him a position here out of a sense of love and pride, just merely because she knew it would be the most pliable test subject. I see now why you hid the truth from him. I cannot say with certainty that he could handle the weight of such a betrayal after holding his mother on such a pedestal for so long. Fortunately, it seems not even her death has ensured his safety. Hephaestus has taken up Athena's research and succeeded in creating Hemethoi. I know not what his ultimate end is, but 'tis plain it's connected with the resurrection of Athena. That knowledge alone is sufficient to direct our next course of action. As for the rest of your story, we shall hear it after we have returned Arathonios to safety, in accordance with Agdistus' last wish. Very well. I can at least assure you that finding him shall prove relatively simple now that Hephaestus can no longer bend Pandemonium to his will. There is but one place left for him to find refuge, the Black Heart of Tartaros, where Athena built her testing compound. We can assume that he will offer a fierce resistance. I must focus my effort on securing a safe means of approach. Leave it to me. Did we do 3 bosses or 4? La Habrea, I'd ask you to assume the duty of summoning Coda's Phantom Warriors. I have no objections. My ability to fight within Tartaros would be greatly diminished in any case. However, I do wish to deal a final blow myself. There's no need to dirty your hands with such a deed. I take it then you have no intent to seal him away as before. The presence I felt when I encountered Hephaestus bore little resemblance to the entity I created. By his own hand, he's become something far more wicked, and the same magics that once shackled him may very well shatter before the power he now wields. On my pride as a researcher, I'm loath to repeat the same mistake twice. I would not see these events play out again, so he must be extinguished. Either defeat him or accept your emotions and take them into yourself. Whatever happens, we need to move forward. Well then, I shall open the way forward. May we finish this together? The 8th circle is now accessible. Updated with a new regular duty. The end is in sight. Return to me safely, my friend. If Hephaestus truly means to continue Athene's research, then Erichthonios is indispensable in his goals. He is safe, but for how much longer I cannot say. Alright, while I wait, I'm going to grab a sip from my drink. Oh my, a 10-minute one. Well, I'm guessing we'll have to fight Erichthonios again. Or he could be Hephaestus himself. That said, if we fight Abyssos and not Erthonos, then the final raid is probably going to be even more depressing than I was expecting this story to go. Dang, that's quite a... The story did take quite a turn I was not expecting. I mean, I laid out my theory at the start, and aside from Themis' true identity, it just completely fell apart on us. Oh dang, everyone but a tank is already taken. There we are. That was a lot quicker than I thought. No complaints from me, don't get me wrong. Full party. Yep. The 8th circle. Alright, here we are.
Erichthonios is mine, heart and soul. And with your death, none will be left to stop me.
Perfect imperfection. Hephaestos. Ah, it's red this time because it's La Hebrea's magic powering us up, but helping us, not Demosism.
Rest eternal in the dark depths of this prison. Vulcan claim my servant's right. Out of my sight.
Oh. Glad I followed with authority there. Oh wow.
I'm tired of this farce.
That's a tank buster, so I don't need to worry about it. Half of it super mode. Reapers is so satisfying with the super mode. Love it.
You are prey to be consumed.
Oh, Wardon. Shadow Gorgon.
My wish fulfilled.
He's become his own mount. How frugal of him.
Shear flesh from bone.
That didn't work. What does that do anyway?
Out of my sight!
Serpent leads knives. It's a grand company. Oh dear.
Behold the fruits of sacrifice! You are prey to be consumed!
Oh, I've been petrified. Oh, come on. I was right out of there. You saw it on stream, right? Damn it. I should have known I wouldn't be getting out of this without a large number of deaths.
Perish in flame's embrace! Go forth and sate your boundless hunger!
Of course, I misread that completely.
Fulgent flame my servant's rights. A fitting death.
Yeah, everyone's dead there. Tanks are all that's left. Not too bad of an outfit for the gunbreaker.
Rest eternal in the dark depths of this prison. Fulgent flame my servant's rights. Out of my sight! Leave not but ash in your wake. Let's sink sorrow into your heart. I fire up this fast. Behold the fruits of sacrifice! You will know my rage!
Might heal over time with counter the damage over time, but I'm not sure. At least I didn't get a vulnerability stack out of that.
Perish in flames and sate your foul
Bard seems to have some idea of what to do, so...
Fulgent flame my servant's rights. A fitting death. I shall see my wish fulfilled. You are afraid to be consumed.
Of course I need to take out the Gorgons first.
Flesh from bone.
see where it's... There's no... Yeah.
Leave naught but ash in your way. Out of my sight!
I barely dodged that. Holy crap.
Behold the fruits of sacrifice. You will know my rage.
Oh dang, that was close. But I didn't get the burn dot.
Praying before a god. Perish in flame's embrace. Go forth and sate your foul hunger.
Ow.
Fulgent flame like serpent strides. Then seek sorrow into your heart.
Ah, darn it.
I shall see my wish fulfilled.
Get the wrong button there. I feel like I've embarrassed myself on stream enough tonight.
Pray to be construed.
Purification.
Leave naught but ash in your way. A fitting death.
And we got him. Duty complete. That's the final one. Pandemonium Abyssos complete. There's an invisible wall, so I can't walk off here. Full set of accessories. Pretty much the entire right side handled for this, for the moment. The chain of events that led us to this moment began with my error. And out of mercy I can find you here. Now I break it, and leave no trace of you behind. This is not over. I see you will not go peacefully. We didn't even flinch from that. What are you doing? Even a cast-off would uphold his pride, though such an impulse must speak the overwhelming arrogance of my other half. The name Hephaestus shall grow to eclipse yours. None shall remember the deeds of the Habrea once I fulfill Athena's ambition and bring Acanthos' dream to life. You speak as if you care a whit for the boy. Then why do you cower behind him? There are some desires which must not be realized. Athena would see the world destroyed if it meant she could find hers in the ruins. As for Erechthonios, he knows not what his wish would beget, a truth which you have hidden from him. Do you truly believe a father's role is to deceive and manipulate? You do realize. I wish would claim the name Hephaestus and call yourself his father, yet you bind his mind, body in dark chains. Your word and your pride ring hollow. Athena wants her son by her side, and he desires to return there. What wickedness is there in mending a broken family? Athena cared not for Erechthonios beyond how he could serve her ends. You claim to be acting in his interest, but 'tis plain you are no different. As I ushered Athena to her end, I vowed my sole mission in life would be to guard the star true. In service to that vow, I silenced the whispers of my heart. I could not nurture a son whilst the entire world looked to me for guidance. For that choice, I bear responsibility. Yet he is still my son, and I'll not suffer you to seduce him with a false hope. You who are not but bitter dregs of Athena and I, the very worst of us. Then how do I? Conscious the whole time. Come back to us. Erechthonios, come back to us. I hear you. I owe you and Themis an apology. Athena, did you ever? Habrea, I will have my say. How? His mind was mine. Evidently it wasn't. I can't explain. Coda's words reached me through the haze. They rang loud and clear. as did the words of another, in a voice much like yours, resounding with truth. How? When did you master these types of bonds? Oh, we've interred much worse than you. I guess you just need the right motivation. You, you worthless, you, Crystal of La Habrea. No wonder he was able to copy the powers of the seat. Oh, are you okay, Ericthonios? It appears my failures have borne fruit after all. Well, son. Where are we? With Hephaestus' essence confined to this crystal, we may safely return him Ericthonios above, that he would bind Hephaestus with only half of his senses intact. You quite understand his adeptness in the art of internment. It was hardly what I had in mind, but a feat deserving of praise nonetheless. Perfect. Looking at Ericthonios with concern. I feel no trace of Hephaestus' poison in your mind, and for a blessing, it appears your body is none worse for wear. I made my way here as soon as I could. I could no longer sense Hephaestus, and the force assimilating Pandemonium's barriers has ceased. Are we rid of him for good and all? I was able to kick his ass, yeah? I see. Despite his muddled senses, Ericthonios felt that to seal Hephaestus away was the proper course. Oh, it wasn't so as noble as that. I only knew something had to be done, and so I acted. Labrea, was that how you dealt with Hephaestus in the past? Indeed, he was naught but the parts of my memory and soul I had cut away. Massive ether without a material vessel, storing his essence within a crystal was the most logical choice. On that matter, I believe the time has come for you to share the rest of your tale. Hephaestus' creation and Athena's end. Yeah, we all deserve to have the truth. I heard your words, but only vaguely, as if it fell from on the surface of the deep pool. My mother wished to use me? I would hear the whole truth. I want to know what happened here and what drove Athena to what she did, act as she did. I am ready. Athena's brilliance outshone us all, even with the other members of the words of La Habrea were as children in comparison. So dedicated to research was she that it was not unheard of for her to forget meals or even sleep. Her mind was ever grasping for knowledge, and it was in this endless search that she became obsessed with uncovering the secrets of life. You see, while we can conceive life in various forms, the means of creating a soul is beyond our ken. Similarly, though we can enhance and alter our own physical vessels, we have ever been bound to them. Athena's purpose was to shatter those limitations. Such limitations as we were not meant to surpass, she sought to enter the realm of the gods. Scarce few have the ability to comprehend what such a task entails, let alone the courage and temperament. Most thought would be an idle fancy, considered once and then discarded. Not so for Athena. Yes, as the leader of the words of La Habrea, spoke with her often about transcending our being. From an academic perspective, the challenges plagued countless researchers throughout the ages. It was during these musings I began to formulate a theory, a means by which a person could meld with the creation. Weaknesses of one could be mitigated by the strengths of the other, and the result could be something greater than we ever imagined. Although it was but a theory, Athena insisted I develop it further, curious about every detail along the way. Conversations became more frequent, and our platonic relationship grew into something much more. I take it I was born not soon after. That does seem to be the case, but... just so. I believe she bore true affection for me and was blind to her hidden intentions. When Pandemonium was built, she requested to lead the researchers. I saw no reason to deny her. Even setting aside our relationship, her accomplishments as a scholar made her the obvious choice. However, in giving her Pandemonium, I also gave her free rein to conduct whatever experiment she could devise. You found out what she was doing, you told her? I made haste to Pandemonium the moment I learned of these hidden chambers. I left Agdistis to keep watch from Tartaros's vestibule as I ventured deeper, not knowing what would await me. As for what occurred next, 'tis best you see it with your own eyes. Is that me? Afraid so. But that means we're well aware that out of respect to there's an Elpis, the researchers of Pandemonium are not to be masked. You stand before me with your face covered. What pay to find this? But so indeed, so quick you are to rebuke me, though you yourself have not set foot in these halls once since their inception. Must have known you could not conceal this from myself and Agdistis forever. As well, you know I cannot allow it to continue. I shall say this once. Release Erechthonios, else I will have no choice but to strike you down. You will not lay a hand on my son. I would meet my end at the hands of none other. However, ere my time has come, I'll have you know the why of it. Then you will not desist? Once you understand what has driven me this far, you'll see that stopping me was never an option. Feelings of one weigh little against the needs of the entire star, you know. Of course, of that I'm well aware, but you did not deign to descend from your lofty heights simply to lecture me as you would a child. You have an interest in my motivations. What possesses Athena, a peerless researcher and mother to the son of the great La Habrea, and embarked upon the path to her downfall? History will demand an answer, and it is you who deserves one. Give me your hand, and we shall know one another more deeply than ever before. Impossible. You bonded your souls? The boundaries between us would cease to be. She offered me everything to be understood. Their fusion technique. Found myself unable to refuse. At the moment, my mind was a storm of questions, and yet one roared the loudest. Did Athena ever truly love me? I am becoming blind. The Asian fusion technique. By the... My heart, all that I am. Yes, yes, as though it were my own. Fathomless desire to dissect the mysteries of life, to transcend our mortal flesh and bleed to a higher plane of existence. An unquenchable thirst for knowledge, not a single thought spared for another, for the star. They were forced to defuse. They couldn't aim. They were not remain in sync. Disappointing. Yet what is known cannot be unknown. You have beheld my life's work. Try as you might to excise that memory, the seed of desire remains, and when it takes root, you too shall be consumed by that self-same fervor. That's why she had them do the fusion. I will dig it out. I'll dispense with the corruption on my soul ere your rotten sight spreads. It was my weakness that let this wickedness fester, but never again. Today I shall cast aside fickle emotion and abide by duty alone. Today I renounce all that I was and live only as La Habrea. Thus did I forsake the part of myself that had been polluted with by Athena, sealing it within a crystal. Never did I think the day I would one day have to face those memories made flesh. Forgive my bluntness, but your actions border on insanity. Go to such lengths to escape your memories, you nearly rewrote your entire existence. Rest assured the change did not go unnoticed by our colleagues of the Convocation. Grorytham and Emmett Selk in particular made plain the suspicions they harbored. As well they should have. That you escaped with your life was nothing short of a miracle. Why didn't you destroy the crystal then and there? Did you think today you might make use of the knowledge it contained? I will not deny such considerations played into my decision, but my main motivation was fear. I'd never attempted such a feat before. The crystal was my sole recourse should something go awry with the remainder of my soul. In hindsight, to cling to it was a mistake born of doubt. Because something like that had never been done before, he had no idea if it would work or not, and he worried he might need the back to save himself. Athena must have anticipated I would resort to such measures and prepared a vessel beforehand that would accept the dregs of my soul. So that's how my body. Hephaestus doubtless believed he was performing his duty as a husband and father should, yet in truth he was nothing but a puppet, being pulled to and fro by Athena's desires. His goal was not to raise himself high, he thought only of seeing his dear Athena live again, that she might finish what she began. Oh my, that's quite the... Yet for all that, he and I were alike. We shared yet a fatal flaw, you see. We yet shared a fatal flaw, you see. Our need for control blinded us to those other perspectives. While I was enthralled at Hephaestus, you called out to me. What say you now? Does La Habrea speak true? It would seem that is the case, yeah. Everything we know so far matches up to what he said. Yes, and now it is your turn to do the same. As I said, Liza and holding back is what got us in this situation first. We need to have everything out in the open if we wish to continue. I just want to know one thing. Do you truly believe hiding the truth was the best for me, even knowing how I felt about my mother? The La Habrea I knew had a fatal flaw after all. I'm still not convinced. I've said all I can say. Now it's time for you to choose to believe me or not. The La Habrea I know holds duty above all else. I would soon prostrate myself that before an erupting volcano, then place fickle emotions in his path. When you return to the surface, you'll doubtless don the mask once more, so before we climb out of this forsaken pit, I should say... Thank you, Hephaestus. Uh, it's not the... It's not the way we would have liked it to have gone, but what matters is the wounds are slowly beginning to heal. I've said all that needs to be said. From this moment forward, I pledge my heart shall not lead me astray. Hephaestus was far more than an imitation of La Habrea. He was quite literally a part of him. La Habrea to me is a man who thinks not but his duty. By casting aside the burden Hephaestus represented, he shall ever become more himself, in a way. I've heard enough. There's more that I would discuss, but first we should return to Pandemonium's gates. I gather my thoughts along the way. Sounds good to me, I suppose. There's still one more wave, but the story seems to be wrapping up. My only guess at this point is that something of Athena might have remained, just in case that all this worked out better than she was hoping they would. We've regained complete control of the facility, but it shall take time yet until things are in working order again. Athena viewed Erycthonios as the ideal test subject. Hephaestus' research must have been very nearly complete to seek him out like he did. Oh dear, it's even possibly might have already finished. I owe you an apology, Koto. It's due to my own inexperience that Hephaestus was easily able to take control of my mind. I also owe you thanks. If you and Themis hadn't chosen to brave the chaos occurring Pandemonium, I would have known La Habrea's story. My father's story. I'm just glad it all worked out in the end, even if it was smooth as a river of cinder blocks, to reuse the one I used earlier. It was a tale I too was fascinated to hear. I very much look forward to speaking with Azem upon my return. I cannot help but wonder how much of this he foresaw. I'm afraid I cannot allow this, Elidibus. So long as you retain control of Pandemonium, there is work to be done. But of course, I shall first free the remaining warders and restore this place to its former glory. Using the facilities in Tartaros, we should be able to reverse the changes made to their bodies and minds. I shall stay behind to oversee the process. That all is well, but I yet must learn why I was considered the key to Hephaestus' experiments and how he intended to revive Athena. Such questions are best left unanswered. In fact, I forbid you to pursue that knowledge. The boundary between man and creation should never again be crossed, and I intend to destroy the crystal containing Hephaestus' essence. That this mistake never again repeats. I see no reason to gainsay your judgment. There's also yet the matter of your crystal, however. Truth be told, I had not considered its origin until I saw the one containing Hephaestus' ether. I was struck by how wholly different they were. There is another? Oh yes, about that. While imbuing a crystal with memories is a simple process, storing a message, a warning even, would be something altogether more complex. This also means someone besides the present company and Azem was aware of the plot unfolding within Pandemonium. Why would they not make themselves known even now? No threats remain. Perhaps it was one of the other warders. We shall question them after they are freed. Of course, since they don't know we're from the future, it could be very well someone in this very room that has made it. Well, that task may take some time, a resource I'd rather not steal more from you. Return unto your leisure and we shall share our results then. You've done more than enough for the time being. Of the same mind, leave the loose ends to us and continue upon your journey. Or if you're so inclined, take a much-needed repose. Repose. Talk of journeys smacks of Azem. As well it should. He's pledged to keep on moving until he's seen every corner of the world. If you do find yourself the spare moment, though, you might bring that crystal of yours to La Habrea. He may be able to offer further insight. Until then, my friend. The crystal that hangs from Ekathonios' waist was a gift from me, made in hopes that it would spark growth in his aptitude for magic. It's plain to me he no longer requires it, but I see no reason he cannot wear it for a while longer. I look forward to your returning to the crystal, but worry not, I shall try my best to stave off loneliness while you're gone. As you may have noticed during our battle, Lahabra's mask crowns me when I'm transformed. It is said that we manifest in a way that reflects our innermost selves. I thought the mask a symbol of chains that bound my heart, but recent events have caused me to reconsider that assumption. Masks are a big part of the ancients' culture, after all. Why, if it isn't Kota, excuse me if I'm not my chipper self, but we have not been without our difficulties in your absence. See, communication with the airship Professor Claudian commissioned for search was lost some time ago, and now we've lost track of where we might be. Oh, bother. I knew something like this was probably going to happen. To make matters worse, Nemejiji has sent word of an unusually large amount of energy coming from somewhere within the ethereal sea. I was just on my way to the telescope. In fact, please come with me. Oh dear, we're about to get something to prepare, aren't we? Oh my. Wait, that's Pandemonium itself. What the hell? It should be gone. It was from the Ancients' world. What is that? Is it real? Why? Why is it that whenever danger visits the world, you're never far behind? Large... Probably because I'm the one who usually has to deal with it. Portiono. And you, too. Professor Claudian's assistants, I take it. As you arrive before me, I take it you're involved with this. I thank you to furnish me with an explanation. That is the Castle of Pandemonium, an underworld research center beneath the Ancients' world and the Unsundered world. But it should have been lost to time. While the research summary you submitted to the forum gives us no cause for concern, the details are, alarming. The professor's last message indicated he was on his way to Azizla, but we know not whether he reached his destination. A rash endeavor even for Claudian, but he has ever allowed the thrill of discovery to cloud his better judgment. We have no recourse but to entreat Ishgard's aid in searching for him. As for that unsightly fortress which has materialized, Pandemonium was it? It cannot be left alone. For the time being, information regarding this matter must be strictly controlled as to minimize panic. We'll gather those with knowledge of the ethereal sea and continue monitoring it for further irregularities. You two submit a detailed report to the forum at once. At present, we have far more questions than answers. Nevertheless, I would ask you for your assistance at such a time that our investigation has concluded. Don't worry, odds are something's gonna come out that requires slicing up, and I'll handle it. Very good. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must appraise the forum of what has occurred here. If Athena's mad science has even caused the past and present to merge, that's even more horrifying if we're blunt. Just when we need him most, Professor Claudian remains unaccounted for. He even brought the crystal with him. We're left with scarce few straws to grasp at. While I am but a lowly assistant, even I can see our two current problems are likely related. The same party or phenomenon may be responsible for both. Conversely, I see now my unexperienced imagination fail to do Pandemonium's pitiless spires justice. I can only wonder, if the facility itself has traversed the ages, did the creations within do the same? What are the keywords? But the answers to these questions shall come in time, I'm sure. For now, I must do as Master Fortuno asks, and write that report. As for you, Kota, pray get your rest your responsibilities allow. Then when we next call upon you, I wager we'll need you in prime condition. Quick Tongue is usually easier to spell because black mages love to stack spell speed so that they can actually move a lot more safely. Alright, let's end with our island sanctuary. Aye that, where can I take you? Travel to my island. Now this is instance, so I should have an easier time. Ah, I feel like a ferryman on the river Styx. Kota, look towards the horizon! Beautiful, isn't it? So this is my deserted island, you say? Interesting. The monkey, I'll name it Jack. Ah, there's nothing like a sea voyage to rekindle the adventuring spirit. What do you think? This untamed isle is yours to cultivate as you see fit, or not, as it were. Clearly I should do the Animal Crossing New Horizons thing and turn it from a deserted, uninhabited island into a corporate paradise. Because that, won't ruin everything, will it? Nothing else. Think of it as your personal hideaway, a not-so-secret one. She'll be my very own fortress of solitude. The refreshing caress of the wind, the soothing whisper of the waves, how liberating. I admit I've been looking forward to joining you here. Now, it may come as a bit of surprise, but the isle was once commandeered by a band of pirates and used as a supply base. Fortunately for us, the group disbanded years ago, and the island has since largely returned to its natural state. As you know all too well, Merlyweb's never been one to stand around idly. She's had her eyes on the Cyllades, formulating plans for island settlements for years. Now that a sense of peace has settled the realm, she's finally decided to put the plans in motion. A chosen few have been permitted to become keepers of private islands in the vast archipelago, and you're one of them. Ah, well, this is actually wonderful. I saved the world, and my reward is a private island I can retire to anytime I wish. That actually feels really good, honestly, to go on adventures, save the world, and actually get a full-on reward for it. My industrious idea of procuring all materials needed to settle here locally struck a chord with the Admiral when she read my proposal, so much so she was happy to grant me a deed. Well, this isn't exactly a one-man job, for the record. By which I'm referring to me. Here, I'm afraid you can't pawn off all the work onto me this time. Not to worry, I've arranged ample assistance. I shall happily introduce you in just a moment, but you'll need to follow me towards the little clearing I've designated as your base of operations. If we simply clamber up the slope ahead and proceed, you'll soon bump into, well, you'll see. Delicious furball. Should you have any questions regarding development of the Isle, please keep them to yourself until pleasantry requirements are fulfilled. Allow me to introduce you to Felicius Furball, the leader of your team of helpers. Oh, they're wearing the same, well, but isn't the owner himself. It shall be my pleasure to advise you, whether you desire it or not. Oh yes, I think we'll get along just fine. They're wearing the, shaman outfit from Final Fantasy III. Trial wore a similar one, if you, recall her from the main story. In addition to our feline friend here, we took the liberty of preparing a variety of other mammoths to assist with construction development of the Isle. You'll be pleased to know they are the latest and greatest models developed by one of the most brilliant minds in Charlian. I've heard a professor of the studium was searching for a means to make use of his advanced automata. To make a long story short, I made him an offer he couldn't refuse. His family will be returned to him within the week, and managed to acquire all of them for an unbeatable price of free. Oh wow, she really did get out his family, didn't she? As I understand, the mammoths produced were in secret while the Forum formulated plans for the Max Exodus, intended to be used as laborers on distant stars to help construct a new home for the people of Atheres. It seems all reason for their existence vanished when the threat to our star was erased. Oh, I that's a shame, but I can't exactly apologize for saving the world. As you can imagine, the professor was quite conflicted over what to do with the remains of what may have been his life's work, but after some negotiation, I convinced him to entrust them to us on the condition we share the data received from the development on the Isle. Furthermore, while I know it sounds like an ordeal and a half to procure the necessities from the island itself, there's ample practical justification for such experimentation. You see, the Admirable's vision is for people from all walks of life to have access to island sanctuaries, and my idea might just be the most effective way to accomplish that. If one has capital at hand to purchase materials and equipment needed for such a bold endeavor, it's a simple matter to subsist safely and comfortably in a remote location, but that limits the potential isle keeps to a paltry few. But of those without such funds who simply wish to enjoy nature and live off the land, we can and must prove that such a feat is possible and assist in providing these would-be isle keeps with the knowledge they need in order to succeed. Only then will these islands truly be sanctuaries. So basically, long story short, we need to make more fret not, Mistress Tataru, with authentic Charlian ingenuity and know-how at my claw tips, simple-minded individual. Excuse me, despite the enhancements in vocal organ design, the mechanism still gets stuck from time to time. That's a relief, but I should leave you to get properly acquainted. I'll see the fruits of your partnership when they're ripe for the picking. For now, enjoy your own personal paradise. Excuse me, I have to return a certain man's family to him. Cultivate the land, explore, the choice is yours. Yes, welcome to the island. Give word when you are finished ogling the surroundings. I prefer to get in the sordid business sooner than later. I'd also very much like to discuss the matter of... You may now visit the island sanctuary of a party member, free company member, or friend who's unlocked the feature by speaking with Baldin. You will be unable to visit the sanctuary if the owner is forbidden access, and there's no one on the island in question, or if the isle has already reached max capacity. Furthermore, you speak on an acquaintance's homeworld if you wish to visit it. You may invite party members, free company members, and friends to visit if it's once reached a sufficient stage of development. Oh. Dude. Welcome to your home in the southern seas. Explore the wilds, bid landmark, enjoy everything this slice of paradise has to offer. No restrictions, adventurers of all inclinations can enjoy it, regardless of crafting and gathering experience, come as you are. Accumulate island experience by engaging in activities on our island to increase sanctuary rank. As your rank increases, so do the facets of island life available to you. Realize visions for your newfound sanctuary by following a series of simple steps, and life in your island will be nothing sort of perfect before you know it. Well, I understand what I must do. Dean Pond. Oh, I can't mount up here. Use of cabins. Now listen, Kota, may I call you Kota? Oh, well, I will anyway. Before we get started, I wish to make it very clear that while you may be the owner, I command the mammoths, and as such I demand a considerable sum. I would hate for us to get off on the wrong foot. That settled, beyond the slope lies a clearing Miss Tartaru believed would serve well as a base of operations. Let us give us a look, shall we? This is a rather open base of operations. My, this is quite a large island. A fine place to set up shop, would you not agree? Yes, I think it will do nicely. Now, while it has much potential, this clearing is currently as bare as a baboon's buttocks. Interesting way of putting that. We'll need to form some sort of shelter from the elements if we're to truly make something of the place. Mistress Tataru has told me of your exploits, but I think it's safe to assume chopping a tree with your bare hands is outside of your repertoire. Not that I'd ask you to even if you could. We need tools for delicate work of this nature. As such, the forest order business is to craft yourself a hatchet. You'll need 3 palm leaves, 2 stones, and a branches each. Follow east along the path and make your first foray in the wilderness to procure them. If you get any funny ideas about exploring the island, not to leave me here to waste in the rain, you'll find my twin, Furious furball waiting here for you instead. Before you go, I have something for you. It's called the Island Keeps Index. To keep you track of your projects here on the island. Can't have you running about watering mammoths instead of plants. That should be all for now. Safe travels. I'll be waiting here should you need me. If I've disappeared, it's because I've been mauled by a wild animal, I assure you. So I'll keep Index is now free. Access this interface for quick information. You can now collect materials with Gather mode, which may be enabled by selecting the appropriate icon. You perform the actions developed by utilizing mood. Finally, make use of duty actions, mounts, and modes. Become master of your new domain. Oh, now I can. Gather. I see, the island inventory is different from my main one. That is actually quite good to know. Let me guess, you missed me. That is very sweet, but let's see about getting a roof over our heads. Start by getting palm leaf stones. Materials can be collected by selecting Gather mode. Alright, so I can't fly here, but I can. Alright, so this is... I also can't use my regular gathering jobs here, it would appear. Now, do these show up as things I can directly interact with? I don't need to worry about falling, because fall damage can't kill you unless you're in combat in this game, so... Oh, I see. Alright, so yeah, gather mode just has me gather the old-fashioned way. Island pumpkin seeds. Island vine. Useful, but not at the moment. Isle sprint. I kind of wish sprint just lasted until I used another action. Works that way in PvP after all. Island branch. Island stone. I see, it's all marked on the map. What items I can gather here. Island sand. Sand, but what's this over here? The wilds. Island vine. Useful, but not at the moment. I joke that we've become a Minecraft stream now, but I think I already made that joke during the first AI of the Somnium files. It's more vines? I think this might be more vines. Yeah. By the... it is, but whatever. Island. The monkey. Okay. Cover a new. Interesting. I'm not going to be doing the Island Sanctuary stuff entirely off in the stream because this is intentionally grindy and meant to be something you do as a break from farming and stuff. So, well, dungeon farming, to do some actual farming. So, I figure I can at least do the introductory quest here. Sweet hideaway. Can't use the mountain fly here, so it's all on foot, but that's fine. I don't nearly need to. Excellent, you've collected everything. We can move on to crafting your very own tool, a hatchet. While you're out there gathering, you could do a little more than scavenge the odd branch, yes? That'll all change in a moment. With the hatchet in hand, you may hack away as many trees you like. Brilliance of the hatchet's design of my own making, is that even non-mammal like yourself can craft it. Go into non-mammoth hands, isn't that wonderful? Upload the blueprints to your index, go ahead and make it. Craft features now accepts. Now able to gather new material. Experience. Excellent. Yes, that is indeed a hatchet. With it, you can now collect all the logs you could ever want or need. Let's move on to the next phase, shelter. A hatchet of yours should be able to cut through even the thick bark of a palm tree, meaning you can now collect palm logs, a material vital or soon to be built haven. The first building we shall make shall naturally be most important, as it will be the very foundation, and seeing as how I have a gift for naming things, I think we best leave of nomenclature to myself. I hereby dub the essential facility the Cozy Cabin. Oh, my poor back. Goodness, I'm due for a healthy amount of grease after that ordeal. Anyway, I prepared the land, you need to prepare the rest. Check the logboard beside me to view the details you'll need for the cabin. And as we're building a cabin and not a tool, the amount of materials are going to be magnitude above what was before. Take your time, if you must, but not too much. Meanwhile, I'll round up the other mammoths in preparation for construction. Begin ordering them around, you know, do what I do best. Construct features now available. Well, that's not nearly as bad as I thought, although it's still quite a bit. Oh yeah, there's one thing I want to do before I call the stream. The Rising event has just started, and that's the event that, basically marks the anniversary of the, Realm Reborn situation. I believe this is in Ul'dah, so let's go here. Seasonal events in this game are pretty short and easy to go through, so I figure, why not? I think this is the seasonal event. Yep, this is it. Clockwork, soulless of ungodless. No lands must remain beyond its grasp. Go forth, conquer, rule. Ah, yes. Emmett Selk's body when we first met him. Wanting minstrel has a request for an experienced adventure. Ah, visit my dear adventurer friend. Please might see you again. Have you perchance come rejoin us in remembering the calamity? If you have a moment, as a favor I'd ask, will you not hear me out? Of course. Of late, more people are seeking to take up adventuring. Not all are yet wise in the ways of the world, however, and I fear they might fall prey to less principled types in Ul'dah. If once yourself were to help them, I would feel more at ease. Would you take a fledgling adventurer on me? I'm truly grateful. Now, I believe a carriage is due to arrive shortly. Go and see if you wait at the gate, and odds are a soul wanderer that's just embarked upon the path of adventure. Pray greet him offer your help. If not, you'll have no trouble identifying him. You need not look for someone absorbed in their surroundings. I dare say you'll feel like a glimpse into the past, right to where you were greeted by a helpful stranger. Start over here. Hey, welcome to Ul'dah. Technically I started in Gridania, but I'm sure the feeling's gonna be the same regardless of which city-state you open in. Who are you? You can call me Coda Blue. I'm an experienced adventurer, you say, and you want to help me on my way. I certainly could use some guidance. I've never been anywhere near as big and busy as Ul'dah. My name's Nagaya Jakia. Just Nagi will do. And as you rightfully guess, I'm an aspiring adventurer. That's why I left my village and came here. So I understand that you first need to register at the Adventurers Guild. Do you know where that is? Yeah, it's over here at the quicksand. What it's called? Yeah, it's called the quicksand. Which the door is it? Oh, thank you. I'll head there at once. Oh wait, Nagi rushes off before we can offer further explanation. Perhaps you should follow him to the quicksand. I should also repair my gear while I'm here. I don't know why I failed to do so before. I should also upgrade all my gear now that I have 4 pieces of upgrades. It'd be nice total in and out. Come on, Nagi, you can do it. Excuse me. Oh, it's you again. To be honest, I'm quite nervous. It's quite heartening to have you here too. Well, I'm glad you feel more at ease with me here. Oh, hello. What can I do? Hey. Oh, the lad's here to register, is he? Yes, madam. I wish to join the Adventurers Guild. My name is Nagi Jakia. I'm 16 years old, practically a man grown. Be a lively one. Omidy's the name, and if you want to be an adventurer, you've come to the right one. There's nothing to it, really. You just write your name in the register. Come, come. With that, you're officially a member now. If you ever need a bit of advice about one thing or another, pay me a visit. Just don't go bothering me every time you stub your bloody toe, alright? Of course, I do enjoy hearing all of the gentleman's woes with the womenfolk from time to time. As a bartender, I imagine she's got made a bit of those as well. He's heard quite a bit of those, I mean. Not normally I'd offer you the grand tour, but in light of our present company, I reckon you ought to have it from him. He's a renowned adventurer after all, the bleeding champion of Eorzea, and you could do far worse than get his advice. Yeah, I've been around the block a couple times. To begin with, mayhap you recommend a guild in here for Nage to join. If it's too noisy in here, perhaps the benches outside we can have a nice little chat. The reason the equivalent of guilds in this game are called free companies are because guilds are where you get your starting base class quests before upgrading to jobs. Unfortunately, those, for those who don't play, those are kind of a relic of the original 1.0, where the original idea was there'd be no specific jobs here and you just cross-class to create everything. But unfortunately, that didn't work out nearly as well as expected. There was some plans to allow specialization to a job for a focused role, with base classes remaining cross-class, but, well, no matter what happened, it just didn't seem to work out. So that's why even the whole concept of cross-class was gone, replaced by role actions. Second wind, leg sheep, bath, arm's length, feint. These were all originally various classes, like leg sweep was dragoon, second one was monk. Bloodbath I think was also dragoon, but I don't remember. No, feint is a new one. But yeah. These were all originally from other jobs that were very popular to cross-class, since you only had a handful of options that were, well, there was only a handful of options worth bothering with, for completely blunt. So they just made those role abilities innate to all jobs. And as such, everyone's moved on to the jobs here. Technically speaking, the base classes still get used by NPCs, as you saw in the dungeon if you watched my VOD from the other day, but those are just purely lore, as you saw. Stuff like Medica 2, those were White Mage only after getting the White Mage Crystal, so Y'shtola was given the White Magic entirely so that you'd have a healer in case you weren't one yourself, yeah. Like this song, it's so haunting and yet so beautiful. Let's confess, choosing gold is quite daunting. I'd appreciate any advice you can offer. The long event cannot be skipped. You may wish to cancel any pending duty finder registration. Alright, let's talk guilds then. Alright, so this is going to be one of those questioning mini games like what happened earlier in the story. Alright, I'm all ears, Kota. Now, adventuring can be dangerous. What attracted you to it? A merchant who was in the carriage with me, something, asked me much the same thing. At the time, I couldn't give a proper answer. I had a reason for leaving home, of course, but I couldn't express it in words. But having now set foot in Ul'dah, it's become clear in my mind. I want to know what lays beyond the horizon, see it with my own eyes, and been to many places, right? Traveling, that is. Love traveling. There's nothing like the thrill of seeing new sights. So you do, so you do. I have an older sister. During the calamity, we fled Gridania and took refuge in the village in the mountains. I ended up staying in a secluded place, and it's long been a dream of mine to travel the world. Inexperienced as I am, I don't know if I could live a life on the road. Is there a guild that could equip me with the skills I need? Crafting and gathering would allow supplies, but being able to defend yourself in this world is absolutely essential. It doesn't come across normally because, you know, the player is always a murder hobo of some sort, so we can defend ourselves extremely well, but the truth is there's 12 billion ways you could die just by stepping outside of the city-states, and some even from inside. So, yeah. One representing students of fighting arts probably a good day. I see, a place where I can learn to protect myself and others. If I recall correctly, it's home to the Pugilist and Thermiters Guild. Of those two, I choose Pugilists. I've always enjoyed a rigorous exercise. I'm quite confident in my physical. Yes, I believe that's guild for me. I'll join it once. I can show you, too, the guild if you'd like. Oh, thank you for concern, but I should be fine. If you still have time, though, could we meet again afterwards? There's a few things I'd like to ask you about. Oh, certainly. There's also the Gladiator Guild, but I guess he has no... I guess he's one of those people who wants to stick to DPS maining, and you know what? I 100% respect that. Alright, good. I'll look for you here when I'm done. Waited a good while, but there's no sign. Perhaps you should look for him. Ghost Guild. Oh, whoops, wrong one. I went completely opposite direction I needed to. I'd say I'm surprised he's not too intimidated by my giant scythe, but I suppose I am wearing a Greek deity's outfit, so... Oh, it's a most impressive display, young one. Watching you, I'm reminded of myself in my youth. Swift, strong, and handsome. Not to say I'm not those things anymore, of course. You're too kind, Master Hamill. And sure you're all those things and more. Now, Nog, you take care, don't flatter the man too much. His neck couldn't bear the size of his head getting any larger. I've actually done the Pugilist quest line, so recognize me. Oh, Koda, I'm glad to say Pugilism seems to agree with me. Many thanks for your recommendation. Well, no, of course. I think you're the one who sent Nagi to us. The lad possesses a rare talent. I look forward to watching him grow in our art. That's good to hear. That's... Right then, my boy. Remember today's lesson well and keep at your training. Next time we shall just try something a little harder. Sorry to keep you waiting. So engrossed was I in the combinations, I lost track of time. Oh, I should mention something. As I was training, a peculiar minstrel approached me. He said if I'm resolved to walk the adventurer's path, I should seek him out for task. Moreover, he asked that you accompany me. If you're willing, he's apparently waiting at Ruby Road Exchange. Now that I think about it, technically Reapers are also learned in Ul'dah, although that's because the ones in here are kind of in hiding, try and figure out how... in hiding, since you know they're Garleans and most people are not exactly the kind of... My friend, you've done a splendid job as a guide. I was right to entrust the task to you. Why, you mean Coda approached me at your behest? I must confess, you see, for my next composition, I seek to capture the essence of the times. While any number of subjects would be worthwhile, the greatest interest to me is the recent rise in the ranks of adventurers. In thus bringing different generations of adventurers together, I'd hoped to inspiration to strike, and I'm pleased to say that it has. Drawing upon your experience walking your path, you have helped Nagi begin walking his, a reminder that the present owes its existence to the past. That is to say, the present and the past are deeply entwined. If we would capture the former, we cannot well disregard the latter. And that brings me to my next request. I ask that you each find an object in connection with the calamity, the event which gave rise to the realm's rebirth, and present to me with its tale. Well now, that sounds like not unlike a treasure hunt, and my first task and adventure. What do you say, Kota? Shall we do it? Sounds good to me. Excellent. When you have your items, pray seek me out to the Ruby Road Exchange. I eagerly await. Look forward to seeing what you bring. There are many vendors at the Sapphire Avenue. Chances are they'll have something. Let's begin our search there. A logical place to begin, that's for certain. One of these days, I need to be lazy and actually unlock the bard's ability to perform for others. Naturally, it's not unusual to run into someone playing some sort of copyrighted song that would no doubt get a YouTube video demonetized. But that's what happens when you allow people the freedom to do just about whatever. Come on, let's begin looking around. He's now accompanying you. Stay at your side to... Okay, so yeah. Oh yeah, they had to give a tutorial on that because you can... The tutorial for it is given during the Endwalker story, but you can do this quest much lower... At much lower of a, level, so they need to make sure that even new players will understand the system mechanic. An object connects with a connection to Calamity. I wonder what kind of things we'll find. Discuss local cuisine. Oh, is this the local cuisine? Goodness, but everything looks amazing. In the simple course of your journeys, you must have sampled all kinds of food, from simple fare to exotic feasts. I look forward to sampling everything as well. Welcome, welcome. What is it you're after? Well, specifically, we're after something specific. Objects with connection to Calamity, you say? Why, I've just the thing, an amethyst ring from Ishgard, steeped in sentimental value. 5 years ago, on the eve of the Battle of Cartano, a young temple knight set out from his homeland, wishing to do his part for Eorzea when his nation would not. Alas, the man never returned to his flats. En route, he came upon a merchant being attacked by his dragon and lost his life coming to the stranger's aid. This was his ring, an heirloom passed down his line. A tragic tale, but I wonder, how did the ring find its way back? If the knight fell, the merchant couldn't have survived unscathed. I remember now, though the knight was mortally wounded, he succeeded in taking it down. With his last breath, he entrusted the... Yeah, that's how it happened. What do you say? I'd be willing to part with the relic for a special purpose today only. And this feels dubious. Yeah, this whole thing is... Look around more, there's bound to be other things here. Well, I'm glad our buddy Nagi here is at least moderately astute to realize that sort of thing. Tales do sound great in the general sense, but if you catch something that doesn't add up, well... Discuss the House of Splendors. House of Splendors, what kind of place is this, I wonder? So you're not familiar with the house. We offer wares in exchange for scripts, but our service is only available to those we know. So if I want to be a customer, I need to make a name for myself. One day, Nagi. More ambitions to be had are always good. Greeting. Daily necessities to Curia. Gotta deal with all manner of wares. If there's something particularly secret, you could ask. Objects to do with Calamity. The two of your adventures, are you not? In that case, I may have something that may be of interest. A journal I acquired from an adventurer who retired injured. The man records his experiences during the Calamity in detail. I dare say it has value for students of history. Oh, an adventurer's first-hand account. I'd love to pore over it. Do you keep a journal of your adventures well, Coda? So I'd love to read it one day, with your permission, of course. Oh, for another historical piece, I do have a scrapbook of articles from the Raven, Gridania's leading tabloid. It mainly covers events outside of the Calamity, however. Articles from the Raven, you say? So far, so good. Let's look around a little more. Oh, Vision Coda, how have you been, my friend? I'm still working on my craft, as you can see. And for the Rising this year, Austin has organized his street exhibition for me. Please feel free to browse at your leisure, and don't hesitate to let me know if you have any questions. If you're looking for objects that bear a connection to Calamity, do you have anything that fits the description? As a matter of fact, I do. The yonder plane entitled the Sultana 7 depicts an inspiring event from the Calamity. 'Twas the final days before the fall of Dalamund. Its inexorable approach foretelling our impending doom. Panic spread like wildfire, while many in their desperation turned to the Sultanate. Looting and rioting broke out across Seolda. To quell the masses, Her Royal Majesty took the streets with a guard consisting of only 7 subjects, but they alone had the courage to stand with their Sultana. There she addressed the rabble. Heed me, my beloved citizens. The realm lies on the brink of the 7th umbral era. Yet as long as we live, we will not forget our compassion. Now is not the time to take from your neighbor, but pour from the hand of succor. Brought to their senses by her words, the people lay down their arms, set about healing wounds that they themselves inflicted upon Ul'dah. Those who returned from the battlefield found their home much as they left it, a gleaming jewel in the desert. Sultana's a very charismatic person. She's always been very popular among the population, despite the Monetarists Guild primarily being equal or greater to her in rulership, although she has recently gotten a bit more power in terms of overall rule. Majesty sounds like a great ruler. Uldah's fortunate to have her watching over it. Thank you for sharing the tale. It's indeed inspiring, and you've done an incredible job capturing it in glass. I dare say we've seen enough. Let's find a quiet spot to discuss what to bring back. Right, this looks like as good a spot as any. Sounds good to me, buddy. I don't know about you, but that was all very new and exciting for me. Talking to a myriad of people, learning the tale behind each object, it's been a great experience I won't soon forget. Now then, we need to decide what to take to the minstrel. Have you made up your mind? Katana 7 Pain certainly seems like a pretty good one. See, I did consider that too, but in the end, tell us something else. What is it? We don't mind if I keep it surprised. Come on, let's purchase our respective items and meet back at the minstrel awaits. I don't want that the supposed knight's ring because I strongly believe that story was completely made up. Since Endwalker had quite an influx of new players, I wonder if this quest was specifically to try and get the players in the mood. I recall there was a research done where people who played did more cooperative of a game, where people would play a multiplayer game and then proceed to, were told to assist with someone playing through, I believe it was something where you help guide them through a maze or something like that. People who played more cooperative ones were typically a lot more straightforward and directly helpful, while the ones who played competitive ones were more likely to mess with the person. Obviously, there are plenty of exceptions on both sides, but it's something worth. But it does show that the kind of mood and mindset a game puts you in can have effects. Obviously, your personality also goes with it. Like I said, there's definitely some exceptions on both sides because you're inherently going to do it. I don't know about myself, but to be honest, I'd like to say I'd be helpful, but again, I've just finished playing through this game, a largely cooperative game. Although I will say the PvP has gotten quite a bit better. I'm enjoying it. But yeah. Uh, uh, Even I can't really say what I do, since obviously I'm a bit biased, both in what I'd like to say that I do, and also in terms of the game I've just been playing for the past almost 4 hours, so that's gonna color my perceptions to some degree, whether I want to or not. You'll find out what I chose soon enough. Welcome back. You've each found an item, I trust. Well now, what have we here? Ah yes, the Sultana 7. I know it well. It is an iconic tale of leadership among great adversity. It may be said Her Majesty's actions that fateful day helped to forge Ul'dah as it is now, and in that sense, it well suits the theme for my composition. Now what of you then, young Nagi? I'm hoping it's a journal, but... And what might this be? A scrapbook of articles from the Raven. Oh, that's a... See, my sister is a reporter for the tabloid. Oh, that explains. During the calamity, she traveled the realm interviewing adventures about their journeys. And I love nothing more than to hear their tales. They said it seemed like such a diverse crowd of adventurers. No two people were alike, and yet they were united in free, unshackled lives they lived. It struck a chord with me, and in time, I found myself admired among them. Looking back, it was my sister who instilled me the desire to see the world, to become an adventurer. That's why I chose the scrapbook. So that's why they offhandedly mentioned the report. See, the footprints someone leaves on their journey become a starting point for another. Yes, a verse comes to me, a blessing for the souls who are taking their first steps in the unknown. Pray lend me your ears. There's one other thing with this event you might be aware of, but if not, we're about to see it. Let's see. My theory, right? That's all gear you get at this in the early parts of the game. I think it's the base. And here's the returning tradition. Things of light. Well, this is a world that exists outside your reality. It could be a dream, a flight of fancy conjured by your word. No. Perhaps or perhaps not. It's a pleasure to meet you again, as I have in the past. I have beckoned you here that I might express my gratitude. Yep. Yoshi P himself likes to give a personal message of thanks with each and every The Rising event, and that's why I wanted to get it done before ending the stream. First of all, I wish to thank you for continuing to grace us with your presence. You and your fellow adventurers are an inspiration, and this shall never change. The world, however, is an ever-changing place, mysterious in its elusiveness. Unexpected hardships may turn our lives upside down, and though we all desire peace deep within our hearts, sparks of conflict will never cease to be struck. Indeed, sometimes the player base disagrees with the devs, sometimes they conflict. Like an adventurer's journey, the world is constantly moving towards the unknown and takes considerable courage to alter course. Yet I ardently believe that it is but a small but very significant step in our quest to create new adventures. Indeed, another great change is about to visit the world, and it shall open the way to exciting new journeys. And 'tis our abiding hope that our journey together shall ever continue on, to the distant horizon and beyond. Now, the time has come for the vision to end, for your eyes to open from this waking dream. Turn to your waking path and know that you are in our hearts always. Next time we meet, bid you safe. Till next we meet, bid you safe travels. I think that's the base race gear that everyone gets upon starting the game. Thank you for the generous reward and the uplifting verse. It gives me courage for the road ahead. Speaking of which, it's time I sat on my own. Though it was brief, I enjoyed our time together, and I hope to see you again somewhere out there. All these sound like really good stuff. Apparently, Sister is just as much an inspiration as any adventurer. I do look forward to hearing the tales. Of course, for some reason I'm leaning towards this one. I'm not entirely sure why. Certainly, there's not always times to be smiling, but at the same time, perhaps it's best something not forgotten. Though much more was lost in the calamity, intrepid souls continue to set forth, paving the way to the future. At such a moment in history do we stand. For you, I'll perform another song. For life is a riddle to bear gladness and grief, stars and storms, the answers to seek, footprints gathered, a song of dawn resplendent, dancing high to the heavens. I'm assuming it's from the embrace of the gods, though mankind is born. Upon winds eternal lives, and memories are born. The future is unwritten, bring it rapture or sorrow. Our journey shall continue unto tomorrow and tomorrow. Fireworks. I wonder, how did you feel as you watched Nagi set off? Did the sight fill you with worry for the fledgling adventure? Awaken fond memories of your own humble beginnings? Whichever it might be, I know yours is a journey more trying than most. There will be times you are overcome by loneliness. Each step feels heavier than the last. Such moments, I bet you remember this. Please don't make me remember that scene from Endwalker. I'm going. Oh yeah, at it again. There's a reason I clipped it separately from the rest. So long as you harbor love for this world, ever shall there be a place for you in it. Your adventures will never end. The meteor has remained a plot point the entire. Not just origins, but even what led to those origins themselves. Here it is, the Clockwork Solace. Design the likeness of Solus von Galvus, founding father of the Gorlian Empire. This automation was created in the royal workshops to commemorate the 9th anniversary of his ascension. Several units were dispatched to the provinces as a show of the nation's technological prowess. I should be the one to sigh. All this time, and Emmett Selk is still one of the more popular. Well, he's still hands down the most popular villain in this entire game, but he's actually gotten pretty up there in terms of most popular Final Fantasy villains, period. I guess he does leave quite an impact. I wish I had streamed the Shadowbringer storyline just to see, just to show what my reactions to all that, but well, better late than never. At least I have my Endwalker reactions. As for the future, I genuinely don't know what I'm going to be going for, what I'm going to be focusing on in this game. But if there's another major storyline, though, like Hildebrand, I might do a stream for that. But the Relic hasn't unlocked yet, so it might not be a major deal yet. But at the same time, it might be good to get an early start. I'll think about it. Well, the future hasn't been written yet, so for now, I'm going to go ahead and call it. Until next time, thank you for watching, hope you had a good time, and I'll see you later.